gamers, it's me, your captain Vasco speaking. Hi, hello, and welcome. It is, oh my god, it's 7-Eleven. That's exciting. I totally ignored that. It would have been possible to obtain a free Slurpee today, unless they changed the rules on that because the economy is so bad. Man, I didn't think about that at all. Well, anyway, it's Saturday, it's stream day, it's very exciting. Now, before we get started, I'm gonna give you an outline. Here's what we'll be doing tonight. And okay, I'll start by explaining, and then I'll explain the explanation. First, I'm going to tell you a fun story that I alluded to yesterday that I would do today. Maybe I'm going to do that for you. Then we're gonna have a palette ruiner, and we're gonna debrief from the Golden Idol case that we did last night that made me very upset. And then we're going to play more Rise of the Golden Idol, because we still have 2 more DLCs to complete before we can finish our task of hashtag Spike Gaming. Now, the thing I feel like I need to explain is that I gave some consideration to this. And I was like, I know I could be a little annoying. And I know that I know only hate. But do people want to see me sort of deconstruct my feelings on why I think this is so bad? So I did pose it to the community, and I got a clear affirmation that yes, this is what the people want. And so I'm like, okay, if people actually want this, I will do this. I was like, I'm willing to try and just try and ignore it, just try and move on and have a healthy emotional response to it. But that's not what we're doing. We won't be doing that. Instead, I'm going to tell you another fun Disney story. And then we're going to talk about how much I don't like that DLC. And then we're going to play new DLC. Okay. So, we start with, I'm going to tell you the saga of trying to eat a series of straightforward meals at the restaurant, the on-site restaurant at the Art of Animation Disney Resort in Florida, in Orlando, Florida. So I might have to work my way back through all the details, right? So the day our reservation started. Again, I'm alluding to the vacation I took for my birthday / the 4th of July last week with my mom, who's here in chat. Hi, Mom. And she can correct me on any of the details that I invariably get wrong, because I'm super. I literally spent like an hour of my day and some time last night like stewing over this garbage, absolute dumpster DLC. So it began on the day that we checked in, which was last Wednesday. Our check-in time was like 3 in the afternoon. My mom and I had made some reservations for an activity not that long after our check-in time, and we sort of like miscalculated the time it would take to get there. So like we arrive at the resort like pretty much like spot on 3, pretty close to 3 p.m. And we checked in, and then we kind of scrambled to our reservation, which took like a couple hours, and then we weighed some options. We're like, let's just get back to the resort and like make sure we're all settled in the room, because we kind of rushed it. And then like we'll go over to the restaurant on site and see what it's like. So we get there at like, I don't know, like close to 8 p.m. I want to say, maybe like a little before 8 p.m. on like a Wednesday. And it's like a holiday week, so I'm not gonna pretend like there's no people expected to be there or whatever, but like it was like crazy packed. It was like, so the way it was structured is like, it was it wasn't exactly buffet. It was a little more like college dining hall is really like the vibe I got, where like there were sort of like cuisine stations, and like there was a line for each one, and you would wait there and you would get to the front, and like each one of them had like a few options. There was one that was kind of like Italian food focused. There was one that was like a little more Asian focused. There were like 1 or 2 others that were like a little bit less clear in exactly what they were doing, but like, they all had kind of like a cohesive theme. And so we get there and it's like super crowded, and like you know, it was already like not like a short day. You know, we did the drive up. We had like kind of uh, not exactly strenuous activity. No, it's true. Like we had planned to get to check in time like early and see if they'd check us in like a little bit early and like help smooth out the gap. But like we got delayed. There was a big traffic thing. Yeah. Um, so like that night we get there around 8. It's like super packed. My mom and I get in like the Italian line and like we wait like a good long while, and like it just like the line like barely moved, and like none of the other lines were really moving, and like it took like forever. Like I don't know how long it actually took us from like arriving around 8 p.m. I want to say it took us like 35 or 40 minutes or something to like get food, and then we still had to like pay for it at the weird like cashier wall. uh and you know, like it's not terribly unique or interesting, but it's like important context for later. So like we do this and it's kind of an exhausting process. Like it all seemed like it was going to be quick service, and it felt like we'd be able to just sort of like pop in, get in line, order a thing, and go. Like there aren't that many offerings at any one time, and they're subdivided into different categories, and it felt like it was going to be quick, and it wasn't quick. And we were both sort of like exhausted at this point. We're just sort of like, well, that wasn't like the ideal way to go about this. And so like the next morning, you know, we had planned to pick up like breakfast at the same restaurant. It does like a brunch thing for a few hours in the morning. And then like go over to one of the Disney parks. And before we like head out, I'm like, hey, you know what? We should like use the mobile order that they tell us to do, right? Like that will surely be the thing that saves us time, because like not doing the mobile order was like a complete like oyster carnival as of yesterday. And my mom agreed, and so we like put in like a straightforward order. I was like, I want like some waffles and like breakfast sides, and my mom got uh like a pancake platter thing, I think. And then so we just like put that in, and we like walk over to the restaurant, and like, you know, the walk is like 10 to 15 minutes, kind of depending on your pace, I would say. And so, you know, considering again, it's like kind of quick service fare, we figure, well, we put in this order, and it's what they recommend doing. And we walk over there, and it's gonna be fine. We'll just like have the food right away instead of having to wait like 40 minutes. So what ends up happening instead is we get there, and there's like a line at the mobile order pickup, and there's like no one in like the regular line this time, which in and of itself is a little frustrating, because you're like, well, there's like a huge line before, now there's no line except where we're at. So I don't know how we get punished for either, for doing either. Somehow there's no being correct. And what made matters worse is the fact that they like somehow just like lost our order. Like my mom like goes up, because like she made it on her phone, and she like tells them like our name. They like ask for a name, and they don't stipulate anything other than name. So I think she gave like last name when they first asked. And the guy just sort of like disappeared and like didn't give us like a status update or anything. He just sort of like got a name and then like left and like ignored us for a while. And then like we waited around for a while, and we had to like ask another person for help. And then they like brought something up in their computer, and they were like, huh. Like they like it seemed like, you know, something broke and they like lost it or whatever. And then like I think they told my mom to like cancel the order on her phone, and mom was like, well, I'm not doing that until I get the food, because like we've already been waiting here for like 25 minutes or something. Um and like long story short is like it was just like a disaster. We ended up waiting for like 40 minutes, and then like it negatively impacted like our timing for like the reservations we had at the park, because we ended up like we didn't miss any appointments. It wasn't like a huge deal, but like it just kept being the case that like every time we attempted to make a reasonable plan to do something, something outside of our control would just sort of like screw it up somehow. Um, and so like, yeah, like the main point is that like somehow we followed both possible procedures and got punished like both ways. When we like stood in line everyone was in line and it was a huge mess and it took forever. When we tried to like order ahead with their digital system, we found some pain point in the system that like deleted our order, and then like the people weren't super helpful and were like kind of rude to my mom about it, even though it was their problem. They weren't really making an effort to solve it. um then I think like the next time we tried the restaurant was like uh we had like another we had like a somewhat late night one of the evenings, and we both went. There was like a pizza line and we went there and we're both just like, yeah, they have these like comically large slices of pizza, and like we've been walking all day and my mom eats like nothing. She pretends like she eats like too much, but like she eats nothing. And so she was like, I'm going to have like one slice of cheese pizza. And I'm like, I'm going to have two slices of pepperoni. We get up to the front of the line, and like this weird, like busybody lady is like, now hang on a second. Um, like what, like we put in our orders, and a guy like goes to just like start filling the order. And like this lady who's standing there like behind the counter is like, now hold on a second. You realize these are large slices of pizza? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just fat. I'm just fat, and that's okay. She's like, okay, well, even if you're fat, it's just like cheaper to order like a whole pizza. You understand? Because of the size of these slices of pizza, that's basically three-quarters of a pizza, and as a result, you should just order a whole pizza. And we acquiesce, like mainly because she's like really aggressive about it. She's like really, really aggressive about it. She was just like, she was not hearing anything other than like, we're gonna buy a whole pizza. Like anything we would say other than that is just like, well, you should just buy a whole pizza. And so we like eventually do it, and they're like, yeah, okay, we'll make you like a half and half pizza, so it's like half cheese and half pepperoni. And then like the issue is that like, you know, when she said like we should order a whole pizza, what she didn't say is like they would only give us a whole pizza if they made it from scratch, which you can sort of intuit because like there are pizzerias that do that. But like then it meant that we had to wait for them to cook a whole pizza, which is like an inconvenience. But here we go again. That's not the end of the story. The problem is that they cooked the pizza and then they just sort of like set it somewhere, and then they started like piling other orders on top of it. And like my mom like thought she saw like there was one I pointed out like kind of early on that I was like, I think that could be us. And I think my mom like kept an eye on that, and I sort of got like distracted and was like, well, they haven't served it, so that must not have been ours. And then like eventually, you know, she notices they got this thing piled up, and like, you know, some worker back there like sort of notices that there's this pile up of pizza boxes, and they do it like last in first out. So they start like calling for people who ordered pizzas and like giving a bunch of people theirs before ours, and then they finally give us ours. And it's one that they had like finished cooking a while ago and then like didn't give to us, and like didn't like apologize or explain or anything. So it was just like, all right, somehow like every single time we've ordered anything, we've been punished and wrong about it every single time. Like we've found almost every possible permutation of ordering food here, and somehow it's just always wrong. And then I think it was like the last night we were there was like, no, that's not true. There were two more incidents. One of them is kind of funny though, because like one of them was like we went a night when my mom was like not feeling super hungry, and we brought like the pizza from the previous night back to the room, and she was just like, I'm just gonna have the pizza, like I don't need that much food, and we already bought the pizza and it's fine. But like I had eaten like more of the pepperoni half than I probably should have, and so I was like, I'm just gonna get a pasta real quick. And then like unbelievably, it was like I just like it took like 4 minutes for me to like go up to the line, order the pasta, receive the pasta, like purchase the pasta and leave. And my mom was like, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know, but we should leave now. Like we should leave before they decide that like something went wrong and they need to inconvenience us. I'm just gonna take the pasta and leave. But then the last morning, um I sort of pushed. I was like, I like breakfast food and I can't really be bothered to cook it for myself. And like I try not to order too much food for myself. I try to be good about like buying things that are slightly more economical than like paying delivery costs and stuff. So I was like, I liked the breakfast. So I want to try and get breakfast here again. And my mom's like, I think she was like a little on the fence, mainly because every food ordering experience we'd had at the resort had been like complete dog water. Um, and she agreed. She didn't give me like a hard time or anything, but I think she just sort of like sensed like I know that this could easily go wrong. Like it's so obvious that this could go wrong, and I was like, I listen. For some reason, I just want character waffles. I posted pictures of these on the Discord, but if you didn't see them, just like the Art of Animation Resort makes these waffles that has animated characters like grilled into them, and they're just cute. And I'm an idiot, and I was just like, I want another shot at character waffles. I want to see fun character designs on a waffle that's like pretty good. And so like we went, and like this time we didn't order ahead because that was such a disaster last time. And that was fine because the lines were like reasonable this time. And so like we're standing in line, and like we're talking about what we're going to order, and I was like, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is like get the like small order of the waffles, and then try the sausage gravy biscuit, because that sounds like it could be good, but I don't want to get the whole like platter for either one. I kind of just want those two things. And I get to the front of the line, and like the people ahead of us had like ordered character waffles, and I'd not seen them run out of character waffles, and they normally seem to have like a big bin of character waffles that they were just sort of like making on loop. And I get up there, and I was like, I would like 2 character waffles, and they're like, we're out. And I was like, and I like literally was like hesitating, and I was like, I know if I ask them how long it's gonna take to make these waffles, they're just gonna like do some insane thing like the pizza. They'll be like, oh yeah, they'll be out in like 2 minutes, and then like Tuesday, after we were like 5 days overdue to check out or something, like we would get like 2 waffles or something. Um, and so I was just like, you know what? Why don't you give me like just like the biscuit platter with a side of like breakfast potatoes, which are basically just tater tots, but I'm a child and that's fine. And they're like, that's really all you want? As if like they weren't out of the thing I told them I wanted. I was like, yeah. And then for some reason they served me a plate that has no breakfast potatoes and like multiple kinds of breakfast meat. I'm like, we were both here like a minute ago when I told you what I wanted twice, and somehow you found a third permutation that wasn't what I wanted. Can I just get, can I just have the potatoes? And they seemed really mystified by this, but they gave me the potatoes. And then my mom, who's behind me, and like, we had talked about like what we were going to order, she gets up and she's like, okay, but like how long for the waffles? And I was like, oh, I know it's a trap. And then like magically, like as like basically like as she asks this, like someone like comes up with the tray of waffles, and I'm like, oh, like if the waffles were gonna take like as long as it would take you to serve me something, I feel like you could have just said like that might take a moment, as opposed to like we're out of waffles. But like that's fine. But my mom, because she's a saint, is like, give me the waffles and then the thing I want, and we will have no further discussion about this. And so like I felt bad because like the way it worked out is like I ended up like receiving more food than I wanted because I had like adjusted my order to get like a larger serving. I've reached a point in my life where like I really try not to waste food because I used to be kind of bad about this, and like the economy sucks, so I really try not to do that. So I felt like a little bit bad. But I did end up getting my character waffles and my biscuit, and it was all very good. But like it just like there's just like no incident without hassle. Like and again, I really want to point out that like I don't tell you these stories because I want to like play a martyr or make it seem like my life is like incredibly difficult. It's because I've come to understand that like in some way I think it is healing for people to hear stories of stuff going wrong for other people. And I've been told that I am able to recount these things in a way that people find entertaining instead of it coming across the way I always feel like it does, which is that I'm just constantly complaining. If that's not true, I will accept your feedback in chat. So feel free to do that. But like, good God, is it really so difficult to get two character waffles? Anyway, also noted. Fortunately, the restaurant was not the only one. That's true. I'll say this as an addendum to demonstrate that I'm not just trying to be negative. The quality of food throughout this trip was excellent. I really feel like they've stepped up the quality of food in the Disney theme parks an incredible amount since I was a kid. And like when I was a kid, I was just like ordering basic stuff I would eat as a kid. So it's not like I was like unhappy with it. But like one of the days, like in the park, we stopped at like Pinocchio's Tavern or something. Because my mom had some like cool like insider info that it's like a really cool place to eat lunch, which it is. And they had like fans. They had like what was it like lemon pepper parmesan chicken tenders and like parmesan something truffle fries, and I was like, those both sound good and both sound like things I don't necessarily expect a quick service Disney theme park restaurant to do well, but gosh darn it, I'm gonna try both of them. And they were both excellent. Like if I could like go to a restaurant and get that now, I would do it. It's really good. Also, there was just like a time when we like the day of my birthday, like half of the day my stomach was like really unsettled. I have no explanation for why. I really don't know why that was, but it was like kind of affecting my whole day. But I had some like a really fond memory of me was like we stopped at like this just like random restaurant, and I ordered like kids chicken fingers and applesauce, and like the quality of the chicken fingers, just the regular ones, was also exceptional. And just the fact that like somehow like it was a good quality meal that didn't make my stomach feel any worse, I was like thrilled. It was like a core memory of like somehow this pit stop is exactly what I needed. It's true. My mom was like going to fight them and do physical damage if they did not provide the two character waffles I wanted. She was really like absolutely going to fight them, no doubt, can't deny. And as she points out, when she took me to a really nice Cheesecake Factory dinner, we had an excellent waiter who like even though like they were having trouble like fulfilling like orders for like table bread at the restaurant, so like we didn't get it, we were like almost done the meal, like he just like communicated like all the delays and everything and was like super nice and chill. And then like when I ordered like the freebie slice of cheesecake for like birthday dessert, he like plated it special and like wrote like a happy birthday message in like chocolate syrup around it on a big plate, and then put like a single candle and like a dollop of whipped cream. It was just like it was really like nice. They didn't have to do that, but like he seemed like a really cool guy. So like again, like the point isn't to say like, oh, you should all feel bad for me, I went on this expensive vacation that my mom paid for and whatever, but just like one, like point one, demonstrate what it's like to be me. Point two, hopefully you enjoy the anecdote of like it's so hard to believe that these things happen to singular people, but if you watch my sister's stream, you also know that this is somehow a genetic trait. And thing three, just to kind of just like give you a status update of like what happened the week that we weren't streaming, in case you're curious, because I think some of you are. Now let me go back. Jake joined like early in the story, and I have a lot of ranting to do tonight, so I don't want to like break my flow. Finally got rid of Spectrum. Heck yeah, Spectrum sucks. One of my favorite things is that I get Spectrum spam mail at my house, and I have like much better internet service here. So like I just get the pleasure of throwing every one of those mailers directly in the trash and not even having to think about it. And that just makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Sister has that blur cranked to 11. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to say that I have it worse than my sister, because we both deal with it in full force. I feel like I don't. I feel like you undersell how much I experience that. I think that we experience a similar level of improbable like nonsense at varying degrees at varying times. Man, at some point when I was gone, some really industrious spider like attached like a single web to like every surface of my streaming computer. Um Anyway, that's part one of the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Now comes part two. You may not enjoy it. I hate being cursed. Well, let me just say this for the record, Jakey. It's a terrible night to have a curse. Of course, that's true all of the time. Another curse is that of the golden idol. Now, the game has, of course, immediately crashed. Don't get it twisted. The game has crashed because I attempted to like get the computer to focus on it for like 5 seconds. So we have to boot it back up again, and now I can't see chat. This is the procedure. This is how the game works. And of course, it's muted because I muted it while we were talking. So it's just silently going to load. I wonder what chat will be saying by the time I can look at them again. Okay, I think I have to be on the main screen in order to yeah, to minimize it. Okay, great. Let's go to sounds. Sure. And let's go to DLC and let's open up the Lemurian Phoenix. So, as explained earlier in my table of contents for this stream, I posed it to the Discord and I asked Discord, do you want me to have a healthy emotional response and just try and move past this and not get completely bent out of shape because I really hated what we did on stream last night? Or should I make a whole thing of it? And the response was overwhelmingly like, let's go. Let's do it. So what I've decided is that in lieu of anything resembling a recap, which I don't even know what that would be at this point because this game is such nonsense, that segment of the stream will instead be occupied by the Lemurian Phoenix debrief. Now, I'm going to start this by trying to be as fair as possible. So what I'm going to do is open up the last component of that DLC. And I'm going to show you what I did wrong here. Because I see a path where I could have gotten here. But even with that in mind, I have grievances, and they shall be aired. So, the main thing that I think I did wrong is this. Once you fill in like the first set of events in Blaze of Glory, the last segment of this DLC, you open up two things. One is this scene where, what the heck is this idiot's name? Jamadi Pira? Where Jamadi Pira is like digging a grave based on stuff that happened. Listen, I'm not gonna, this debrief assumes that you witnessed enough of last night that you understand what's going on. If you want to ask some clarified questions, I'll try to clarify, but I'm not baking it in here. So you get this scene, but you also get this scene, this stupid thing at the movie theater, right? And we had like between parts of this DLC, we get some like stupid blurb note that talks about how like two people like said something that got overheard at a movie theater and were like put to death, and like it didn't seem related to anything and wasn't related to anything that had previously come to pass, and so like just sort of ignored it. And then we come around to here and like we just suddenly get access to the movie theater. And what I should have done is focus on this feels really stupid and pointless and out of place. And I should have interpreted that as it must be here for a very specific reason. And so I should focus on this because it is so pointless. There must be a reason and I should focus on that. Now what I'll say is that reasoning works best when you have confidence in the game and its storytelling to do things purposefully. So, you know, that may no longer be the case for me at the time of that recording. And assuming I had done that, David Bowie over here has a letter on her that says, Thank you for those wonderful photographs. What a handsome young man my grandson has become. How lucky he is to have inherited such a strong set of features from you and Shastai. And so what I am to understand is I should look at their hideous countenances, this lady and this guy, and then compare them to all the people whose faces I can look at and realize this guy has like her ridiculously large nose and I guess his glasses? What features of his? He kind of just looks like, does he have weird ears? Yeah, I guess he has weird ears like the dad. I don't want to think about their hideous countenances. See, like, this is a legitimate problem that I have too, is that, like, so there was a case earlier on in the main game of Rise of the Golden Idol where, like, they hired a bunch of models for a photo shoot, and then to identify them, like, the game sort of indicates, like, certain facial features that you should look out for. And, like, that's one thing. But the art style of this game is, like, disgusting. And, like, we all don't like looking at it. And so, like, I'm not going out of my way to do it without prompting. So, like, my reasoning is, like, the way I would succeed at this is, like, one, realize I was missing something in this scene. Two, drill down into this specific letter. Three, as my mom in chat points out, the clue it gives you a strong set of features, so it doesn't even really help indicate what features you're looking for, so you still have to do that manually. And only then, once I've passed all of those thresholds successfully, am I, like, primed to, like, make the comparison the game wants me to do, to realize that this character is the son of the people who were put to death for, like, speaking blasphemy in a movie theater. And so, like, I'll give you that much. That's the leeway I'm willing to give you, is, like, as much as I think that this is a stupid, dumb puzzle for crazy lunatics, there is a path where I could have achieved victory. This game rejected Oda's dad for being too hot. What a horrible sentence to utter in writing Demolition. And yes, I think that's apt, Jakey, the Flesh Friends redemption. I think basically the art of designing characters in this game is sculpting Flesh Friends. Okay, now we get to the portion of phase 2 of the stream where I've spent an hour today writing notes. And I'm not going to read them verbatim. This is to help guide the conversation that I want to have. And I'm going to start here. Now that I've gotten through all the positivity I'm likely to muster, let's talk about this particular segment of the DLC in particular. And point one I have literally written here as, plot makes no sense. So let's talk about this. What we're meant to uncover is this, that this guy is the son of those people in the movie theater, and that is his motivation to perform a grand solo conspiracy to overthrow the entire spiritual structure of the country of Lemuria, with the expectation that in doing so, he will somehow be de facto elevated to the highest position of power, which will then enable him to assassinate the king that, like, authorized the execution based on the counsel of the spiritual leaders. So, like, we're talking a super lofty goal to begin with, right? But how do we get there? Let's talk through his plan, right? We only see this character in a grand total of 2 scenes, I believe. Actually, let me double check that. I want to check one thing real quick. I want to check this one, the waterfall, the revelation. And this will probably cause the game to crash, and we'll just load it up again, and I'll be mad, and it's fine. Like, so a murdering Kai Wynn situation. If you want to make that analogy, it would be as if Kai Wynn told... I'm sure there's well, no, she becomes, like, the government leader, basically, because of the way that Bajor functions. It's like, it's kind of like when they had a provisional government in the early seasons of Deep Space Nine. If, like, Kai Wynn, in her capacity as... What was her title before she became Kai? I don't remember. Like, in her capacity as that role, if she told the provisional government that they should kill someone for a stupid reason, And then like some random person decided that they were going to devote their entire life to killing Kai Wynn and the provisional government. But so the thing I want to check is the other scene. Is this guy? No, this guy isn't even... Is any of these guys the guy? No, none of these guys is the guy. And also, I want to be so crazy clear with you. I was like so struggling to figure out like what I could have done right. And like there's this whole thing, and I'll touch on this in more detail in a minute, but there's this whole thing that like predicates around the waterfall and using the waterfall as part of his evil scheme. And like I was like, wait a minute. Was I supposed to be able to like see him like poking out behind the waterfall as part of this plan? And no, even if you use the zoom function in the video game that serves no real practical purpose, even if you zoom in on the waterfall, I don't see nothing. I don't see a Sebastian the Crab of a clue of his presence behind the idiot waterfall. You can zoom in. Yes, I've only ever done it accidentally until I got real mad and tried to see if there was like something I had missed about the waterfall that made sense of the plan. And I'm here to assure you that that's not true. Just don't go chasing waterfalls. What an excellent piece of advice, particularly given the case we're talking about. So let's get back to it. So here's his plan, right? He wants to punish those people. But what is his plan? What's the compelling story that ties together this DLC? Because the entire second DLC ultimately reveals itself to be around his master plan. Let's walk it through. Step 1. He moves out into the countryside to work for a guy that he hates. One of the 3 people he wants to murder, he decides to like dedicate himself to, right? He works for Koi Magasai. And so great. He upends his whole life to spend all of his time working for a guy he hates. Sure, Count of Monte Cristo, whatever. But then, importantly, and we'll touch on this again later. Importantly, I have there are so many things I can indicate about how much I hate this. I hate it so much. This looks like a cult. It is. It's a cult. It's a cult. Don't worry about it. So here's this guy, Jamadi Pira. He only appears in 2 places that we like see. One is where he's burying that body in the scene we started looking at. And the other is where he's cranking up this car and like on his person he has this diary where Koi confesses to doing a murder. Right? But when we look at Koi, one of the guys he hates, here's the entry. This is almost the entirety of the information that we have to go on about Jamadi Pira. Reliable ever since he showed up here. Had opportunity to turn on me early on, but proved his loyalty and worth that day. Not too bright, but useful servant, does as told, no questions asked. So, on the one hand, I'll grant you that, like, we have plenty of reason surrounding this point in the story to believe that this guy with his triangle head stamp is not a reliable narrator. He's very self-absorbed and you know, not a reliable source of information. But this is like almost all of the information we have to go on, and this is super important because what we're told is that from the perspective of one of his 2 targets, he turned down an opportunity to like betray him early on, and since then has been unquestioningly reliable. Right? So let's go back to the plan. Step 1, upend his whole life to dedicate himself to working for a guy he hates. Step 2, don't betray him. Okay. Now, if there's like a long-term plan where he wants his trust to do something in particular, that makes sense. Let's take a look at step 3. Step 3, nothing. There's no step 3. What do I mean by that? Well, you better believe there's a bunch more detail coming. So, the thing is that we see no evidence of a long-term scheme or incremental progress towards a particular goal of achieving his revenge against these 2 brothers. So, to me, the only interpretation I can have is that, like, he's just winging it. He's dedicated his whole life to this, and he's surrounded himself with people he hates more than anything, and he just doesn't have anything in mind. He's just hoping that someday something will happen. And then, miraculously, it does. Because guess Blaze of Glory, even though it's all out of sequence and we could talk about that later. So what happens is, in that previous scene when he's like cranking the car, he's got like a note on his, like, basically the clues point us to he is disposing of a body on behalf of Koi, right? Tillers, welcome. What if this game dev is some mortal enemy of yours you've long since forgotten? They spent a solid 6 years making this game to piss you off. You know what's actually really funny about that, Tillers? It's like, it would totally, like, mirror the story of what's his face. I can't be bothered to remember this guy's name. I hate him more than anything. But, like, this guy's whole thing is that, like, you know, something happened in his past and he just devotes his entire life to, like, a nebulous, like, revenge scheme. Like, you cut them in line and got the last waffles or something. Jatillers, I don't know at what point you joined the stream, but that's a really funny example because we were talking about the waffle line earlier and how almost the inverse of that happened. But I don't know if you did that on purpose or if that's just really spooky. Okay, but so we've established that there's no evidence that he had a long-term plan. So he devotes his whole life to working for people he hates for, like, no reason. On purpose. Okay, good. Less spooky, impressive. I like it. I dig it. I'm down. But so he is ordered by Koi to dispose of a body. And for some reason, for like no particular reason at all, Koi's like, why don't I send you to bury the body in a super secret, sacred place that only I and my brother have access to? And so he gives him the Jork code. And the Jork code gets him past the security door. And then he buries the body over here in the former temple. And this drives me a little bit crazy. So one of the other, like, 3 pieces of information we have about this man's entire personality before we're supposed to figure out that he's this brilliant mastermind is this phrase. Koi really has a sick mind choosing this of all places, though I suppose no one will ever disturb the sacred ground here. This tells me nothing about him as a character. This tells me about Koi. And then he says, hang on a second while he's digging this up. Now, my interpretation this whole time is that I thought he found something while in the act of digging. Like, no one is expected to be digging here, and so while digging a hole for the corpse, he found something buried here that nobody expected. And I thought that maybe that was, like, the other brother's secret plan that led to the trial by ordeal and all the stuff that happens in Blaze of Glory. It's phase 1. But what you're supposed to interpret here, and this makes me absolutely insane with rage, is like, even though, like, the focus is on his thought process and on his action of digging, what we're supposed to see is that he notices that there's, like, space behind the waterfall, because his plan becomes, it morphs into, he uses the access he now has to the waterfall to hide behind the waterfall and tell Koi's brother, Ori, what to do, which leads to the events of the trial by ordeal. I have so many problems with this, and I'll try to address all of them. One of them is this, that earlier in our gameplay, but later in the sequence of events, we see Ori talk to the waterfall, and he doesn't really indicate that anything is different about him receiving this message from the waterfall, telling him to, like, do the trial by ordeal. He just takes it on, he treats it as the same as any previous proclamation, which we know had already happened like 8 or 9 times or something like that. There's like multiple written records of all the proclamations that have come from the waterfall. So, like, we have no reason to believe that anything is different about him receiving this information than any previous time. But, like, as I've demonstrated earlier, if you zoom in on the waterfall in the scene where that's supposed to be happening, where this guy is supposed to be telling the other brother what to do, there's no evidence. He's not visible. There's no evidence that he's doing it from either side. You don't see him doing it, and you don't see the other guy being like, oh my god, like, the waterfall is literally speaking to me in a way that it was only figurative before, or anything like that. So, like, I just, personally, I don't feel like I have any reason to question that. But here's where it gets dumber, which is impressive, because we're already at DumbCon 5. So, when this guy, JP, is talking from behind the waterfall, he tells Ori that what he has to do is to get him and his brother locked in the temple, get all their devotees to light it on fire, and then, like, the mysticism of the waterfall will protect Ori because he's the chosen brother. Okay. But, like, at this point in time, he has no ability to... He doesn't know what the outcome of that is. Like, I guess presumably his best case scenario is that they both are locked in the temple and it burns down and they both die. Later on, it becomes the case that the Lemurian government conspires with Koi to try and give him, like, a way to cheat his way out of the competition and have Ori burned to death because he's on better terms with the government. And, you know, because JP, Girardi, whatever, is considered such a loyal person, Koi reads him in on that, and as a result, he is able to execute this master plan. But even at the time he starts instigating the plan, he doesn't have any way to know its outcome. Because the plan only works because of knowledge he doesn't have yet, which doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through it one more time, because it bears repeating. Step 1, devote your entire life to working for people you hate. Step 2, avoid betraying them with no obvious long-term plan. Step 3, wait a really long time for an opening that hopefully accomplishes all your hopes and dreams. Step 4, magically be given access to something that you can use to manipulate one of the two brothers that you hate. Step 5, instigate a chaotic plan with no clear, like, definable outcome that may or may not work out in your favor, which doesn't seem any better than just betraying the first brother early on. And that brings us to where we're at now. So in order for the plan to work out the way that, like, it looks like a master plan in the end, we have to go from this point where he's chaotically instigated, like, just burn the temple down with everyone inside and hope for the best. And then what he needs to have happen is he needs the government to conspire with the brother who trusts him. He needs the brother to read him in on the plan to have a bunker, like, installed in the building so he can survive the fire. Then he needs to be put in a position where he can access the bunker himself and use it to stage his own, like, Phoenix appearance. And it gets dumber from there, right? So, like, once he has his resurrection, like, there's this big, like, basically, like, glowing hotspot of, like, bunker that he arose from, and both of the people's spiritual leaders die in the fire, and they're just like, well, I don't know, that guy came out of the rubble, so I guess he's in charge now. Like, none of the prophecies are like, if a random guy comes out of a trial by ordeal, which is a thing we just made up, then that guy is now in charge of all spirituality in the country. So, like, he kind of has to bank on, like, everyone just deciding that that's cool. Like, there's nothing that the game establishes as a precedent that would be like, well, whoever appears out of the rubble is the new leader. Like, it was that there were, like, two co-equal spiritual leaders who were, like, rivals, and they kind of decided to, like, hash it out in, like, a winner-takes-all situation. And this guy just shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, I've turned this tournament into a complete farce, and now I am your god. And everyone's just like, that might as well be true. I guess he's our god now. which is very frustrating. But it gets worse. It gets dumber. It gets really stupid. Because at that point, so the government was conspiring with Koi, the, like, more corrupt of the two brothers. And, like, that's how the bunker and all that happened. But so, like, that means that they know that the only way that this guy could be put in this position is if he was extremely duplicitous. And even at that, they're like, I guess that's fine. I guess we won't call him on it or anything. We'll just leave him in charge of all spirituality. However, then we go back to the first part of the DLC, which happens last. And so this, as it turns out, is like Girardi whatever, right? Like, he rises to power in the spiritual position, and, like, you know, we worked out earlier how there was a schedule, and, like, the guy was, like, tape recording a speech, and, like, he wrote a part of the speech that he could manipulate to give orders to his staff so he could, like, escape freely or whatever. But, like, I want you to recall that the way that he was able to, like, in order to gain an audience with the king, all that previous stuff had to go right, correct? Like, he had no plan. He had to, he lucks into one of the brothers giving him access to the waterfall, then, like, figures out that if he stands behind the waterfall and just, like, tells someone what to do, that he'll just do. He won't question it, even though that's, like, not established how the waterfall spiritual messages have ever worked before. Guy will just take it on complete faith, even though it's, like, a completely new thing. And then he hasn't thought through the plan, but somehow it falls on his lap that, like, all of these things go right, so that he somehow magically ascends to the position of First Sentinel, which gets him an audience with the king, who is the last person that he wants to kill. And even at that, in order for that plan to work, he has to come with an offering of a statue that has, like, a big knife in it, and then detach the knife and stab the king, even though there's a god darn, like, metal detector security checkpoint that says don't bring bladed weapons in. Do you see how many absurd things have to go right in order for this plan to succeed? And that's not even just saying, like, it's implausible for this to succeed. It's not even a plan. Things just keep happening in his favor. He's the most lucky person who's ever lived. I don't understand how this could come across as something you're supposed to intuit. Particularly because, like, they don't sow any breadcrumbs. Like, if there was a master plan in place, right? Then each one of these cases could show, like, little bits and pieces of it coming together. And then maybe, if they had done it well and done it right, in the end, you could be like, oh, that's why this and that and the other thing. But there's just no logical connection between anything because it all happens by pure happenstance. It's unbelievably chaotic nonsense, right? And that's point one. That's point one, is that the story itself just doesn't internally make any sense. I'm going to take a pause here before I burst a blood vessel. But everyone in chat just seems to think that I am mortal enemies with the developer, and it's unclear whether they started it or I started it. And it's a really interesting question, particularly given the way that this case is mucking around with time, isn't it? It all feels like it's self-referential, like art imitating life. Chiller says also that he's got the super daredevil hearing or something that allows him to hear anything behind the waterfall. Right? Because I was thinking this too, is that, like, even if you assume all this other stuff makes sense, which it doesn't, then, like, he also has to know that, like, if I shout at the top of my lungs, there won't be anything remotely suspicious about it, but the other guy will still hear it, and then, like, do whatever the mysterious voice says. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain of falling water. And so I'm gonna truncate these other ones. I have, like, a similar amount of notes for all of them, but, like, the real main point is, like, that story, it doesn't stand up to scrutiny, and it makes me crazy because, like, I was trying to get a sense. The first thing I did after ending the stream last night was I tried to look up and see if I could find a list of, like, all the clues that are supposed to point me to that resolution that I think is, like, crazy unintuitive. And, you know, I pointed out, like, a couple of the things that, like, I could have missed that would have directed me there, but I really think it's such a huge logical leap that it's not reasonable to expect the player to make that, right? But then, like, while I was looking through that, what I found was, like, the sense I get is that there is an overwhelmingly positive response to this DLC. Like, the majority of people who play it not only like it, they think it's, like, some of the strongest Golden Idol content there is. I wouldn't say that's a universal opinion, but I would say that at least half of the opinions I read about this while doing that research indicated that people thought, like, this is, like, peak Golden Idol, which makes me so upset. Because I think the exact opposite. I think this is some of the worst puzzle gameplay I've ever played. Okay, so, point 2. I don't care about what's his... Does your list give his name? No, it just lists him as first sentinel, because of course it does, because it would make it too easy to, like follow the video game if they did it otherwise. Also, if it's someone you know, wouldn't you recognize? I mean, you'd think. I mean, the one thing I'll say to play devil's advocate there is, like, this guy is way closer to the other brother than the one he, like, misled. So here's problem 2, is that I just don't care about this guy, like, at all. What's his name? Jamadi Pira. I'll never remember this name. I hate him too much. So the thing I hate about Jamadi is, like, as I indicated earlier, he's in, like, 2 scenes. Like, one of them is this. And, like, he doesn't, like, none of his dialogue indicates anything about his personality or his motive or what kind of person he is, really. The only thing he says is, Koi has a sick mind, like, burying, like, a political dissident in a holy site that's, like, not supposed to be disturbed by, like, exploiting his access as a spiritual leader. Which is true, but that's not, like, a hot take. Like, that should be, like, a room temperature take. Like, a take as cold as the water coming off the waterfall. Like, it tells me so little about him, and frankly ends up being misleading, in my opinion, because, like, when they ask what his motivation is, this kind of leads me to think that, like, he cares about the religion, because he cares about this site. But that's not true. He just thinks that Koi sucks, and that happens to coincide with the fact that he takes a really extreme stance on this. One thing I've read people talk about is they believe that him carrying around Koi's diary that confesses to, like, murdering his father somehow suggests that this guy, that Dramati, is, like, obviously plotting against him. And I don't follow that reasoning. Particularly because the first time we see him with the diary, it's like basically every time we see him with the diary, it is within, like, an hour of him being told to dispose of a guy who went to confront Koi about, like, mishandling spiritual stuff, which ended with that guy being, like, bludgeoned to death with a fire extinguisher. And then this guy went to dispose of his body. So, like, my interpretation that I think is legitimately very reasonable, and maybe you disagree, but, like, he's carrying around this really incriminating thing and somehow not talking about or thinking about or using it in any way that exploits, like, doing anything negative to Koi. Like, that leads me to think that, like, he's on Koi's side. That, like, he has this because he's, like, disposing of evidence, and, like, he's not tempted to use it against Koi because, as I pointed out earlier, the only other information than his, like, 2 statements, which are basically nothing about his personality, are that, like, he is a faithful, like, reliable servant who does what he's told unquestioningly. So, like, that all lines up with him carrying around this incriminating evidence and doing nothing with it. You hadn't seen the Jork before? It's the Jork. It's the only good part of the story is the Jork. So, like, the issue I have with that, well, one of many, of course, is that, like, if they wanted the statement that came from Koi Nagase, the cult leader, to come across as dramatic irony, like Case of the Golden Idol uses dramatic irony on multiple occasions, where, like, a character says something, but other evidence indicates that that's not really true. And that's part of the puzzle solving of the game. Is like, if something seems suspicious, seeing if you can find evidence to like dispute it. But like, it's just not there. Like, there's so little evidence about this character that like one of the only things that's said about him is that he is super reliable and trustworthy to Koi. And all the evidence I can find backs that up until the very end, where you make these several logical leaps and end up reaching the conclusion that actually he was planning to kill him the whole time, even though he didn't do anything remotely negative or to undermine his authority at all the entire time. But like, this all ties into the fact that, again, he only gets 2 appearances and like says nothing that demonstrates his own autonomy, right? So like, this coupled with the fact that like you only see, the only times you hear about his parents are like this spontaneous appearance of like this scene of them at the movie theater and a random note between 2 of these scenes that's like, 2 people died because they said like a blaspheme at the movie theater. Like, if they want me to be invested in his revenge plot, they have to make him a real character. Like, I don't see, like, I just, like, how am I supposed to care about him or, like, think that he has a master plan when, A, the plan itself, as I've already demonstrated, doesn't make any sense, isn't clever, and isn't interesting. And 2, if we don't establish any pathos for him by making it clear what his stakes are, or at least making me think, like, wow, this crime is, like, really egregious and, like, a big deal, and, like, I can't believe that happened, and, like, nobody got punished. Like, the details of it are bad. Like, it's not a thing that I'm okay with, but, like, a bunch of people do a bunch of stuff I'm not okay with in this game, but, like, they just didn't spend any time letting it breathe, making it something that I care about. Like, we spend all this time in this case setting up these, like, specific incidents, but, like, the crux of the story is his motivation. And it all happens off camera. So the last thing I'll say is this, my point 3, which is, I think that this case perfectly demonstrates what I think just is the core failing of Rise of the Golden Idol, which is that it's not trying to tell a good story. It's trying to be clever. It's not trying to be competent. It's not trying to be interesting. It's trying to be smarter than you. And I have a real problem with a puzzle game that's trying to be smarter than you. Now, does that mean that the puzzle game should be easy and not provide you with a challenge and never give you a red herring or anything? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is more to this point. That this game sort of... I think this game positions itself as a narrative game that tells its story through puzzles. And the important thing to note about a story that has a twist is this. A well-written narrative that has a twist in it functions with or without the twist. Like, the way it works is that, like, the first time you see the story, you are likely unaware of the twist. And then you get there, and it gives you a new appreciation for everything that came before it. So the first time you watch it on the merit of the surface story, and then you hit the twist, and if you were to, like, watch the movie or read the story again, or play the game or whatever, if you go through the same story again, then, like, you're still able to enjoy it because you now see the clues that led up to it, and you see the hints in a different light. Taylor says, I think the body was wrapped in the rug rather than brushed under it. Oh, hang on. This is in response to Neko's comment. What body even got buried? So, like, a guy died off camera, and, like, you kind of have to assume, based on the fact that there are very few people in that scene who died, it also feels really lazy, but I'm not going to get waylaid in that. But, like, yeah, in the other scene... Taylor is basically correct here, that when we see this guy, Girardi, I don't care about his name. You know this. You know I don't care about his name. Like, there's this tarp, and, like, there's something you can look at that, like, basically tells you what color the tarp should be, and it shouldn't have blood red on it. And he's got the shovel, and it, like, implies that, like, there's a corpse in it, and he's gonna go take care of it, because he has, like, a note on him that, like, literally says this guy's permission to leave. And then, of course, he's got the Jork code. But, like, So the point is this, like, we have all these individual pieces of this story, and they mostly just don't matter on their own. They don't build toward anything without the twist. Like, there's no cohesive narrative here without the twist. And as at least as I've managed to demonstrate my feeling about it, the twist doesn't make any sense. It's not supported by the story either. So, like, the story doesn't work with or without the twist, and the twist itself is bad. As a result, I think all of this is bad. I could go into some more detail, but I think that makes my case. Yeah, Neko says it 100% has to hold up on rewatch. It's so satisfying when you could go back and spot so many little details that showed what was really going on and have a new perspective. I mean, even, and this isn't really the same thing, but it's kind of related. When like, we spent some time in the room when we were like on vacation last week, and we caught Back to the Future marathon, and like, Back to the Future is the type of movie that if it comes on, I just watch it because I love Back to the Future. And like, even though it's not so much about a twist, like the fact that like the story kind of like folds back on itself has like a lot of moments that are like that. And like on my like 50 gabillionth rewatch, I noticed a through line between the first and third Back to the Future movies I'd never noticed before. Just like a background gag that I think is really funny. At the start of Back to the Future 1, like the first like spoken words are a radio ad for a local car dealership called like Statler Chrysler or Statler Toyota or something. And then when Marty McFly goes back to the Wild West for the first time in Back to the Future 3 and goes to Hill Valley in its like nascency, there's like a horse rancher that he's like selling horses, and it's like Statler like horse stable. And I never noticed that before. I'm like, God, production put so much effort into this. Like, no one will ever see, like, I might be the first person who's ever noticed this detail. And it's incredible. Like, imagine if one of the DLC for Rise of the Golden Idol put that much attention into, like, tying the stories together instead of, like, trying so hard to obscure the details to create artificial difficulty, trying to force these aha moments out of really poorly written puzzles. And now it is my great pleasure to tell you that we have completed stage 2 of the stream. However, it is also with a heavy heart that I tell you that means we're starting phase 3 of the stream, which means that we're playing the Age of Restraint, the third DLC of this game, because we're hashtag spike gaming, and we're not stopping until we're done with this game. Because sometimes you see like a trailer for a movie or you hear about a story and it just doesn't appeal to you, and you just don't like it, and people ask you about it and you're like, I'm not really into that. And they're like, yeah, but did you try it? And when all is said and done, I'm going to hate this game fully on its own merits. Nico says, wait, that man has a square on his head. There's another with a circle. Are these the original members of the Squid Game? I assume that's what the Age of Restraint is going to talk about. But that is a fun observation. Nico also said, this is why I hated reading the Higurashi manga from the library. Book 1 would be a mystery, and you'd have so many suspects in theory. The second book that solves the mystery may as well have been a completely different story because nothing from book 1 was relevant. Oh, that sucks. That would make me very upset. And, it's not dissimilar to, like, Nirvana Initiative, which I hate, where they're like, the big mystery ends up being that the video game just, like, lied to you about how events happen. And this also happens in Rain Code, right? Like one of the big pieces of evidence that there's, like, a conspiracy going on in that game is, like, on plain display, like, the first time you go to solve a murder case, and then one of the characters in the video game just lies and says, like, in this world, that's just normal, so, like, you shouldn't think that's weird. And then, like, later on, when you confront that same character with, like, why did you say that? She's like, I guess I just wasn't thinking about it when I said that, so I just, like, lied for no reason. So, like, yeah, those are great stories that I don't hate, all of those. Witness the Age of Restraint, in which an ancient society cracks down on dangerous technology. As a reminder, we do know something about the Age of Restraint, not very much. There was a museum scene earlier in this game where we've worked out that, like, ancient Lemuria went through, like, 4, like, major societal ages. And, like, we heard about the Age of Restraint, but we didn't know too much about it. I guess it's Restraint because they limit the use of their technology, which, like, this probably would have come after. There was, like, some era where they had, like, flying tanks or something. So they were probably like, maybe we should stop inventing flying tanks and instead make, like, video game consoles, which I think may literally have come from the Age of Restraint. It's really bizarre to think that they had that level of, like, futuristic technology in, like, one country in this fictional world, but, like, most of the world basically works the same as our world. Anyway, Age of Restraint. Let's see if the game crashes. Amazing. Incroyable. Yeah, I mean, like, look at this. We got some, like, Jetsons buildings and, like, a UFO. And then they're still like, yeah, in, like, 1972, we just had, like, regular TV and cars and stuff. Fruits of disobedience. A tragic occurrence in an ancient orchard. How's everybody doing? I've been talking for, like, an insanely long time. Did you like the rant? Rate the rant on Yelp, please. By which I mean, just, like, I don't know, tell me if you liked it. It doesn't look great here. I don't know that I want this fruit. Let me look at the broccoli. Okay, the broccoli seems to have... What am I looking at? It looks like there's, like, a vase with some weird plants attached to, like the fender of a car that itself is, like, hot glued to, like, one of those, like, motorized tire irons that, like, race car drivers use to change tires mid-race. And then there's the like, heritage group symbol or whatever that was called, which clearly got repurposed at some point. Instead of crab at the top. That's an interesting question. It does bear a vague resemblance to the crab boss in Slay the Spire 2, who sort of, like, looms at the top of the screen and has his claws at the bottom. The blue, you mean this, right? The blue guy at the top. You're not saying, like, one of the people, but, like, top guy. So, like, this feels like a thing that's not going to make sense to me till later. Let me look at this guy. I am a sentinel. I am not a sentinel. The canal is pink. The canal is blue. What's happening? Why is this person telling truth and lies? There should be two, like, identical doorkeepers who are doing that. What is the implication of some of the spoken words being a different color? Like, I get that probably means the distinction. Oh, it has to do with the hat, right? The like, crown is making them lie or tell the truth? What use is this technology? Oh my god, wait! The game has introduced something called Spite Fruit. I'm playing the game correctly. I was meant to be hashtag Spite Gaming the whole time. The headband of truth and lies. That's so true. Sir, the family members with me in the Spite Fruit orchard used our only approved tools today, and everyone stayed in their assigned orchard. Okay. Lemuri, if we finish before your uncle and aunt today and prove that Yeldas are the lifeblood of these orchards, I will take you to a spiel dance performance. Do not disappoint me. So, oh man, I want to see the spiel dance performance. That stuff ruled. Spike fruit is what they added to your Disney pizza when they decided to leave it at the bottom of the pile. You know, it did taste a little different than I expected. You might be right. Before giving your testimony, let's make sure your temporary Veridola is calibrated. Repeat after me. I am a sentinel. I am not a sentinel. The canal is pink. The canal is blue. So the Veridola is like a lie detector. That was a man's feet. It's not anymore. Because it's not attached correctly. But it used to be the feet of a person. That's right. That is true. I wasn't actually paying attention, but the canal is pink. You're right for that. So that means that pink is lies, eh? Interesting. I went to the glut fruit orchard with my grandfather for the harvest. What else is there to say? I harvested glut fruit. Liar. It might be a man's tomato soup. Why does he serve it in his Wellington boots, Neko? My colleagues are interviewing your family members separately. Please recount your data. God, why do they make them look like this? Is it required? Did they like lose a bet? I want to see the other. Which man would you like to see? This guy? Or this guy? I think this is a guy. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe he misunderstood a beef Wellington. I don't know. That sounds like a lot of misunderstandings. Look at this guy. My son was just killed. And they raid my orchards and strap us in Veridolas like we're liars. This man has a tool that isn't identified? It's not how the first game would have done it. Be calm, father. I'll miss Laram as much as you will, liar. Aren't they? It's so... There's something actually really funny about it. I'm trying... I feel like a sitcom did something really similar to this. I'm blanking on context. But, like, there's something really funny about, like two parents, like, being strapped into a lie detector and, like, bickering about loving the kid equally, and, like, one of them is like, that's actually, like, a definite lie. Aren't they simply I'll miss Storm as much as you will. Aren't they simply ensuring the truth is revealed? And this thing is... Oh, it's a note. Why the Yeldas should inherit the orchards. My brother is lazy. His wife is disrespectful. My nephew is useless. All three Lervels have yet to prove their worth to the orchards. My parents will see the truth soon enough. Property of Nada Yelda. Nada Yelda? That's such a fake name. I am not a Yelda. Cyclops, who blinded you? Nada Man! Is this the person you wanted to see, Neko? The other person talking about the canal color? Pink is clearly a lie and green is clearly correct. It appears consistent. So, you deny that misuse was behind this? Raska, be forthcoming with information. Nobody will be punished. Liar. Technological Abuse Report 792013. Offense. Violation of National Restraint Policy. Location. Tanska Orchards, Xenopolis. Evidence. Fused organic matter. Culprit. To be determined. Punishment. Memory removal. That's interesting. I think that's the first time we're being told, like, the proper use of the memory idle function. See, the range is short, and its uses are limited. My children and I obey the charter with exactness. I assume my husband, Tanis, told you the same thing. That's interesting. This one's not lying. Oh, hey, it has the triangle symbol on it. A little curious, eh? But they don't all have the same symbol on them. One has dot. One has triangle. One has line and dot? Wait. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. So, the idea, I think, is that these front pieces are swappable. And, like, this bit with the yin-yang symbol on it is, like, compliant. And the purple plant thing is evil. Or, like, illegal or whatever. Wonder where the rest of the body for those boots are. I regret to inform you, it probably became jam. I don't know what that's about. Hang on. Some notes, another purple thing, and a thing that attached to, like, a bunch of widgets. Modified Tine requires modified Safeguard to work. I'll need to adjust that as well then. It will be so much more efficient. Better reach means quicker work. I'll test it today. I'll prove that Nada is wrong about me. Now, I'm gonna have a hard time with this, huh? But, like, clearly, some percentage of the people working on this farm or whatever this is were conspiring to do the illegal thing. Jam with tomato soup? His body should have become grilled cheese instead. Oh, that's so real. Man, I haven't had a good grilled cheese in a minute. Tavik Patu and Morena Freppo have joined hands in marriage. In line with Lemurian tradition, their new family name will be Tavrina. Oh, they're doing the Wienersmith! That's interesting. They formed the new last name by taking the first part of one's first name and the last part of the other's last name. But I don't immediately know which one of these is which, so I don't know if it's like always the first part of the woman's name or something like that. Do you like this cyber Harry Potter newspaper? Okay, is this OSHA instructions? Safety charter. Farmers may only use approved harvesters, comprising neck, extendable for use on bait fruit plants. Tine, keeps raised range about a hand's length. Ferrule corresponds to a specific bin's portal. Okay, I think I understand that. Transmitter, pointed at the ground during use. Grip for holding. Safeguard supplied by the sentinels. Prevents targeting of any matter except for fruit. Prevents invalid harvester configurations. So, Neko, to answer your question, here's the guy. It appears as though he got teleported in a way he was not supposed to do. He left something behind. It was jam. Let me look at his corpse. The man is not breathing, everyone. The guy who had his legs severed, and then I think like he also kind of got like mutated into a bush or something. That guy's not breathing. So like this shape I think is like relevant. Harvest day assignments: glut fruit, Etham Tanis, spite fruit, Nada, Lemuri, Raska, bait fruit, Laram, and Vel. So Laram died, huh? Okay. 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 Starting to see how it will all come together. Still missing some stuff. Mostly these people, I think. The guy's having a bad day. I mean, he sure was. I don't know how he feels about it now, because for some reason he won't answer my questions about it. Oh, by the way, not super important, and hopefully I'll remember to point this out at the end of the stream, but I'm wearing another new shirt from the escape game when my mom took me to do a new escape room. They have a new room agnostic one. It's really nice. It's a fun different color that I normally see around, and like I think it is the only shirt I possess that has any pink on it, that's a fun fact. Oh, I crashed the game. Wouldn't you know it? Doing anything at all crashed the video game. Woe is me. If Zagula was here, I think he would tell me that that was my fault. Or that it wasn't my fault. I don't know which version of gaslighting I'm doing today. I mean, we don't gaslight Zagula in particular on the stream. No one tell him. While we do that, look at my chunky Tyranitar. If you didn't see him yesterday, I got this guy for my birthday too. Isn't he neat? What a little guy. He's so derpy. Okay. Rip. I'm glad you also appreciate the Tyranitar Neko. I really debated getting him for a while and then asked for him for my birthday. He's really nice. It's true. The branding for the escape room or the escape game says that you like unlock the t-shirt by escaping the room, which I'm pretty sure they would sell it to you anyway, but we did earn it. You escaped. You have another set of shirts for people who didn't escape? No, that would be kind of a funny thing to do, but I imagine they wouldn't sell very well. But they do, I think, like, I don't know if they still do it, or maybe this location didn't do it. Like, they used to have, like, little props for, like, groups to do photos, after the room, and they had, like, props that were, like, we escaped, or, like, we didn't escape. Oh, no, maybe I'm thinking of the other place that we used to go to before the escape game, like, started expanding to more locations. I think that place did more of those things. One thing I'll say about our trip to the escape room is while we were waiting, we were there like just long enough to see there was like a father who brought, I think, his like daughter and her friends to the escape room, and he just like patiently like waited outside so he could like kind of chaperone, but like so he wouldn't like intrude on their like good time like doing the escape room. And so he like literally just like sat quietly by himself waiting for them to finish. And then when they were done, he did like one other thing. Maybe my mom remembers. I feel like when they finished, he like did something like really nice. Like he like teased the daughter like a little bit. Like he was like talking to the lady at the front desk, saying like they're a bunch of teenagers, they probably won't finish it. But he like wasn't mean about it. He was like, he seemed like he was being silly. And then like the same front desk lady gave him a hard time like when they beat it, because she's like, see, your dad didn't believe you could do it. But I don't know, I just thought it was really cute that like he didn't make a big deal of like having to just like wait for like a whole hour for his like daughter and her friends to like do the thing. He took him there and he like let her have a good time. I don't know, I just thought it was like super cute. All right, I didn't get to look at this because I crashed the video game. No one did. Lies. Please let us grieve in peace. Whatever happened today was an accident. Truth. Where did you take my son? I don't... It seems really confusing to attempt to lie when you have a technology that, like, tells people when you're lying. An approved harvester would not have caused this atrocity. Which of you broke the charter? Your son is being questioned in the spite fruit orchard. This is all standard procedure for our investigations. Why do you fear us? I mean, the absolute audacity of a guy who looks like this to ask why someone fears him, you know? Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that? Oh, and then the calendar. Luram Lurvel handles a glut fruit. Tanska family orchards voted best fruit planters in Lemuria. Okay, hold on. The family. So I guess they're considering Lurum a free space. Okay. Well then give me the fruits. He's holding glut fruit is blue. A glut fruit. So, the son... Your son is being questioned in the spite fruit orchard. Who was talking about the spite fruit earlier? Veridola. Spite fruit. Okay. Family members with me in the spite fruit orchard used only our approved tools today, and everyone stayed in their assigned orchards. That's interesting. Everyone stayed in their assigned orchards. Spite fruit. Not a Lemurian Rosca. So Nada. Someone had a note with one of those other names on it, didn't they? Lemuri. Yeah. So spite fruit is dot coded. So spite fruit... Wait, that ain't right. Why are the glut fruit going in the yellow thing? It's because he's doing this right now. And he has the wrong tool, because that's triangle coded, and triangle ends up here. You deny that misuse is behind this. Raska. So this guy is Raska. Which means he's the third one who was in the spite fruit orchard? So hold on. Family? This guy? Raska? Oh, it doesn't want names, it only wants relations. Nico asks, Vasco, what does the golden idol actually do? Well, for one, it doesn't appear very much in this particular game, as you've already come to know. It's a difficult question to answer because in the first game, the case of the golden idol sort of frames the golden idol as a thing that has like a small set of like mystical tiles sort of like embedded in it that offer a variety of functions that, like, you know, if you calibrate it the right way, it does like a small subset of things. This game does this thing that I don't like, where just like people just kind of like keep finding like parts of a functioning golden idol and then just like make up a new function, even though like it's never explained how or why people are able to do that. So like the long and short of it is, like, as far as I know, it could feasibly do anything, because like they've made it so hopelessly open-ended that I don't really know what actually restricts it at this point. That explains the idol innards from a while back. Yeah, that was the last functioning idol we've seen. I feel like I don't want to start with the family stuff. It's really confusing. Let me go back to this. The safety charter. Armors may only use... Yeah, okay. So neck, extendable. For use only on bait fruit plants. That's probably this bit, huh? The weird blue thing? Tine keeps Ray's range to about hand's length. That's probably this, because when they switched this front stuff out, they were saying it increased the range. Also, that's like what a Tine looks like, kind of. Hey, Funny Godmother, welcome. You missed my like 40-minute, like, honest to God, like, dissertation about why I got so upset at the end of the last stream. I did like a full breakdown on what the game expected me to understand and why it doesn't make any sense for that to be true. I hope you've been making better use of your time and that you're doing well on this Saturday. I'm looking forward to like being home tomorrow so that I can see your stream. Unless I've miscalculated something and you're already traveling again. Okay, Nectine Ferrule corresponds to a specific bin's portal. So, like, the thing that seems to fit that description is this, like, pink shieldy bit. So I'm going to call that the Ferrule. The grip is for holding. And the gun shoots bullets very fast. The grip's got to be that back part. The Safeguard, supplied by the Sentinels, prevents targeting of any matter except fruit. Prevents invalid harvester configurations. Wait, what did I miss here? Oh, transmitter. Pointed at ground during use. Approved by Sentinel. Okay, if the Sentinel symbol is the heritage thing, then the Safeguard is probably this. Which leaves the transmitter to be this. I think that's correct. That might not be 100%, but that should be close. Transmitter. That's disheartening. What the heck is the point of physical activity if no credit? That's such a wonderful question that my sister Funny Godmother poses in chat. I spent most of the day in the park, but my watch died, so I didn't get credit. Oh, I legitimately hate when that happens. Oh, that's so frustrating. But I played a lot of Pokemon Go. Remember the Metapod Shiny Curse? Oh, okay, it is broken. You got Shiny Raid, 2 Shiny Raid Mewtwo's. That, I mean, Mewtwo's a good one to get. Is Mewtwo your second ever Shiny, like, out of all Pokemon games? Because for one, that's pretty rad, if true. And second, that's like a bummer, because I feel like you should encounter more of them in your standard playthrough. I know, like, you're not guaranteed to get one in a standard playthrough, but my sense is like, if you're not like speed running it, like, I don't know. I feel like I average about one per like playthrough, and I don't think I'm like that lucky with that. I think I'm luckier than a lot, but like I don't think that's like crazy. So if you like do like a bunch of playthroughs, you should find some. Got some at community days, but first organic raid shiny. Yeah, I mean I feel like that. Yeah, that sort of answers my question. Yeah, well that's really cool. I mean, Mewtwo is a really good... Okay, so hold on. What? I mean, is possible that... Let me take a look at something. Time keeps the ray's range at about hand's length. So here's a bunch of stuff. So, like, modified the safeguard to work. So what do I think the safeguard is? That. I'm pretty sure that has to be the safeguard, right? Oh my god, the giant metapod. Ooh. Is that new? Wait. Help me out, chat. Did Twitch always do that? Did it always put the big emote on the screen like that? I don't feel like I've ever seen that before. Am I crazy? I only ever remember seeing it in chat. I don't remember it, like, appearing on screen. Nico says, I did find a random wild shiny one time in Pokemon Go. It wasn't an outbreak or any featured Pokemon. It was a full odds thing. I think it was Bronzor or something. Bronzor is pretty cool. I like the color of shiny Bronzor. Well, of Bronzong. I think they're probably like the same color scheme, right? Maybe a setting that randomly enabled itself. I mean, if anything, I think it's more likely that they like updated how the like alert box works to now include that or something. Because like, I mean, it's possible they'd like change the default setting, but like, why would they do that if they previously had it as a default something else? Reach means more efficient work. There's something I'm like not intuiting about these things. What does the line correspond to? The middle one is line. So he was probably holding this, and then someone hit it, but they didn't switch back the, like, safeguard or whatever. So hang on. He has the blue bit on there, and he's working on glut fruit. But the neck should only happen with bait fruit. So then the neck is probably this thing then. Because I don't see very much of it. Do I see anyone with that? I don't think I see a single instance of that. So yeah, that makes sense. I think safeguard's right. I think that's right. Something has still got to be wrong, though. Because otherwise, if just switching those would do it, then we'd be fine. What's the thing I need that I took out? Transmitter? So that tracks. I think I have 2 more correct than before. No, that can't be right. 2 still have to be wrong. It's not possible in this case for only 1 to be wrong. Got numerous shiny wilds, including Brillish, 2 Aerodactyls, a Gibble, and a Spearow. Those are some pretty good... I mean, I know that, like, Brillish and Jellicent aren't extremely popular, but those are some delightfully goofy ghost Pokemon I like a lot. Aerodactyl is just really good. And, like, Gibble? I mean, who doesn't... I think everyone loves Garchomp. Except people who play competitive VGC and are sick of seeing them all the time. Big flat red thing is giving safeguard to me. I mean, so is their description of the safeguard? Well, okay, so the thing is, the safeguard is supplied by the Sentinels, and the mark of the Sentinels is this like house with the yin yang thing on it. So like, I'm pretty sure that's the safeguard. I think the big pink shield thing is the ferrule because it says that it corresponds to a specific portal's bin. And when you like look at these devices, like we have three shapes that sort of suggest where things will teleport to. Like this is the triangle bin, and if we look at this guy who's currently doing something, he's got triangle and it's like on that part of the thing. And like I appreciate when chat like checks me on these, because like I've occasionally been wrong on these, but like, you know, like I'm just like sort of restating how I got here, because sometimes I'm wrong, but like that I'm just letting you know how I got here at the very least. I mean, it's very possible I got like the tines wrong. So next should be right now. Tine keeps raise range at about hand's length. Well, I don't know, because if we're talking about thing that like changes range, I feel like it's the thing at the very front. Because, and the reason I think that is because the thing in question that like ruined that guy's time and turned his boots into soup, it like replaced the tine with like the woobly the purple thing. But let me read that note again. What's the thing he changed? Requires a modified safeguard, but the safeguard is like their thing. So the modified safeguard is just the yellow thing. Which I guess it makes sense to call it that because it has like the same components. I'll need to adjust that as well then. Oh, modified tine. So yeah, that's saying that the front bit is the tine, because we're saying that this is the tine and this is the modified tine and this is the safeguard and this is the modified safeguard. So that's weird then, because what do I have wrong at that point? Like, am I crazy? Is it obvious to someone what I've done wrong here? Yeah, Shiny Aerodactyl looks really cool. I like that one. Shiny Gible is great. Shiny Garchomp. Oh, that's true. That is fair. Shiny Garchomp is kind of ridiculous. He barely looks different. I hadn't realized I'm kind of a fan of Armarouge. I was playing him in my Pokemon Champions team like the season before this one that just ended. And I've come to understand that like Armarouge and Ceruledge have like god-awful shinies where like their entire body is the same color and their eyes are a different color, and it's just so dumb to me. Like, I can't believe that was the choice they made. It's so silly. He's so much more efficient. Better reach means better work. I'll test it today. I'll prove Nada is wrong about me. So that means that the person who's messing with it is the guy who died, right? That seems to check out. Because he died as a result of it. Like this is, I love Ceruledge because he's purple. Ceruledge, Armarouge, and Charcadet have the worst shinies ever. Yeah. They're awful. They're really bad. Like, there are plenty of bad shinies out there, but, like, those are bad. Like, I like all three of them pretty well, but, like, what a bummer shiny. I'm sad that Champions doesn't have Drifloon, because I really would like to use my shiny Drifloon in Champions. It's definitely my favorite shiny I've ever had. Take shiny Dugong over Charcadet? Wait, what's shiny Dugong? I don't remember it. Same but a slightly different shade of white. Oh, that sounds awful. Okay, hold on. Let's take a look at these again from scratch. Neck, extendable for use on bait fruit plants. I think we've identified that because it's a part that's not consistently used in the places we're seeing, and we don't really see anyone working on bait fruit. Tine. I'm pretty sure we've confirmed Tine because of the note that we were just looking at that says we have to modify the safeguard and the Tine. I mean, is it possible they're reversed? It doesn't feel like it. Because, like, the stamp seems like it makes sense. The rule corresponds to a specific bin's portal. I mean, like, the only one that, like, has a designation is that part. Transmitter. Pointed at ground during use. Oh. Oh, okay. This is a weird linguistic thing. I think my issue is that the transmitter and the grip should be switched because this is indicating not this whole part that you would hold on to, but rather this bottom part, which I guess is like the transmitter. And it's saying, like, if you're pointing it up at something, it's aiming down. And this is the grip because you hold on, like, you hold on to both parts of this. You understand why that is, like, a little confusing, but I think that's what we're going for. Okay, great. Got it. I still haven't unlocked some kind of mystery in the middle, which is odd to me. So... this person says they harvested glut fruit. Your son is being questioned in the spike fruit orchard. This person's son is being questioned in the spike fruit orchard. So the spike fruit... I mean, it's either yellow or pink, right? It's not super helpful. Family members with me in the spike fruit orchard used only our approved tools today, and everyone stayed in their assigned orchards. What? I'm missing something that makes it clear what the last two fruits... Like, it's so easy to brute force it, but I just... Like, clearly, glut fruit's the blue one. So why would you need the extender thing, the neck? Why would you need that for one type of fruit and not the other? The weird thing is, like, these seem high as stuff. That almost seems like that would make sense. Is there something about the shape of the other fruit that makes it dangerous to be close to it? I mean, they're both kind of prickly, so that doesn't really help narrow it down. God, the family thing seems so annoying. Where did you take my son? Oh, thank goodness. Okay, no, this is helpful. For some reason, I gave myself the impression that, that I didn't have a names thing and that I was just going to have to go by the family, and it was giving me, like, a real headache. So... the dead guy. Luram Lervel. And we know the naming convention takes half of the first name of one parent and half of the first name of the other. But that's confusing because he's Luram. So is he his own father? So Raska is the last name of the child of Tanska and Tanis, right? Or his own grandfather. It's true. I've heard a story about that happening. Nada is wrong. Okay, let's fill in just like the names of people that we know, which isn't very many. You are Nada, correct? Not Nada. She's Nada Yelda. We got a full name on this lady. Nada Yelda. And then her note says, why the Yeldas should inherit the orchards. My brother is lazy. His wife is disrespectful. My nephew is useless. All three Lervels have yet to prove their worth in the orchard. So there's three Lervels. And look at this naming convention thing again. It changes when they get married, not when they have kids. So the kids inherit it because the marriage has already happened. Okay. So, does that clarify anything for me? Yeah, it means his wife is Vel. Vel or Vel. Do I... Does that do anything for me? Remember, so this is Lemuri. I'll figure out the rest of that context after I fill that in. Family, not family names. This is Lemuri. And then the note says, Lemuri, if we finish before your uncle and aunt today, and prove the Yeldas are the lifeblood of the orchards, I will take you to a spiel dance performance. Do not disappoint me, son. Okay, so that confirms... Listen, I'm not trying to be glib. That confirms that this person is male identifying. I don't know. It's like a mutant person because of the video game. I'm like not trying to be difficult. Like it's the art style. I'm not trying to make it something of it. What else is there to say? I harvested glut fruit. I went to the glut fruit orchard with my grandfather. I mean, that seems to suggest... Yeah, this guy's gotta be dead guy's son, right? And then, like, maybe the super old-coded guy is the grandfather? So this guy's last name would be Lervel, if true. I don't know who this guy's wife is. Maybe she doesn't work here? I don't know. I think the mutant person is a woman based on nothing. I mean, if you like held a gun to my head and said like this person doesn't identify as non-binary, you have to tell me correctly if this is a man or a woman. I think I would guess woman and get shot in the head. If that hypothetical does anything for you. My son... Oh, this guy... Yeah, this guy is the father of the dead guy. That's nice and easy. I appreciate one easy one to sort of, Parent. I was looking for father. It was really throwing me off. Son was just killed. They raided my orchards. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Lobster bisque. Understood. Be calm, father. So, okay, so this lady is his sister. I'll miss Larum as much as you will. Dang, girl. His wife is disrespectful. She the red-haired lady then? Is that possible? Why did you take my son? Oh, hang on. Let me do the thing I apparently should have done last time. Let me try to compare, like, hideous features from the countenances of Golden Idol characters. Maybe once you've named everyone, that'll be a clue. I mean, like, there's... You can sort of work a hybrid angle where you work both. You could fixate on one or the other. I feel like, ultimately, it's hard to do one without doing the other. I'm kind of just trying to make progress where I'm making sense of it. It's a very convoluted web. But you may definitely be right about them. All these just hideous individuals. You broke the charter. Your son is being questioned as spite fruit. I sure wish I knew which fruit was which. And I don't want to do it through brute force. So this guy... Yeah, I mean, if this person identified as a woman, it'd make my life easier. So if this guy was her son, then that would make her Vel or Vel. So I think, hold on. This is child. What's your dealio? The range is short and its uses are limited. My children and I obey the charter with exactness. Is this like the matriarch? Like the grandmother? I assume my husband, Tanis, told you the same thing. Hold on. The names? I think the only way that works is if Tanis. So he's Tanis and she's Raska and they're both Tanska. So Tanis told you the same thing. To shreds, you say? I think the one with the mustache is a man or a lady getting attacked by a wiggly caterpillar. I mean, it's so hard to say in this art style, you know? I'm pretty sure the way this works is like... This is the blonde guy's wife. This is their kid. This would also be his parents. So then who would this last person be? Family members with me in the Spite Fruit Orchard. Spite Fruit Orchard. Nada, Lemurian, Raska. Nada, Mori, Raska. Bait Fruit, Lurum and Vel. Glutfruit Tanis. Glutfruit Tanis. That's Dot, right? Yeah. Pretty sure that guy's Tanis. And his wife's name is Targus Targus. A big crab coming down from the sky to admire the pink canal. I kind of hate the way you put that, but I appreciate that you like the sentiment. That just somehow sounds wrong. I don't think I would catch it until I said it out loud, but like something just sounds a little sketchy about that. Lemuri. So the first name is just a first name, you know? So wait a minute. I should be able to figure out who Etham is because I have so many first names and I know what assignment they had. Etham was on Glutfruit with Tanis. And wait, this guy says he was with the grandfather, so that's Tanis. So this is Etham Bokum. So Etham is too young to like contribute a name to the nonsense generator. And this, I believe, is Vel, which leaves Lemuri as... So, like, her husband would be something that starts with Yell, which isn't one of these people. So, like, this isn't... Okay, so that's fine. So what is the last name of this person and their relationship? It's slightly unclear to me. We finished before your uncle and aunt today and proved that... Okay, no. So this... Yeah, so this is... We're implying that this is a Yelda, right? Yelda! Opa! Which in turn means that this is a nephew. Right? 2 down. What's locked here? Some fruit-related tangent? I bet when I put in the fruit names, it's gonna ask me to place where everyone was during the events of the events. Am I stupid? Can anyone tell me how I'm... Listen, it would be the easiest thing in the world for me to just put in the fruit names, be wrong, and swap them. But, like, there's gotta be something that tells me the correct answer, right? Oh, no, wait, no. I know this now because I know the people. In the Spite Fruit Orchard, which means that's pink, right? Because, no. Her son is in the yellow. So Spite Fruit is yellow. And then what's the bait fruit? Great. And now we get the orchards, exactly what I thought. Who was in which orchard when the death occurred? This will be tricky, but this also is probably super important to finishing this, huh? I went to the Glutfruit Orchard with my grandfather for the harvest. So that means that Boop and Boop. But he did not harvest Glutfruit for some reason. I think the man who died was where his boots are. Well, let's not jump to conclusions. I'll pencil it in for now, but, you know, I think there's a shadow of a doubt there. This soup will be cold now. Rip. Hey, anybody watching season 3 of Silo? There's a funny soup bit in the 2nd episode. Actually, I think it's the 2nd episode. It might be the end of the 1st. Anyway. So that's his testimony. And then this guy says... The family members with me in the Spike Fruit Orchard used only our approved tools today. And everyone stayed in their assigned orchards. Now, that's a really specific way of saying that, isn't it? So that means that this individual was in the Spike Fruit Orchards. Who else was supposed to be in the Spike Fruit Orchards? That's... Nada? No, Nada's... That's her. And Raska is the other woman. You were supposed to be on Bait Fruit. That's interesting. I'm gonna pencil you in there. I certainly don't think it's as straightforward as putting everyone based on their assignments. Let me go and read the testimony of you again. Not the testimony, this thing. If we finish before your uncle and aunt today... If we... So I think the only people that Nada cares about are herself and the nephew. So I think that's the we. So this doesn't immediately tell me anything about either of their positions, I don't think. My son was just killed. I will miss Lauren. So your thing is, you're making a case for why the eldest should inherit it. We're saying that the guy who died is lazy, and his wife sucks, and his son sucks. And all three Lervels have yet to prove their worth to the Orchards. My parents will see the truth. You know. Who is this note for? And then this person... The range is short, and its uses are limited. My children and I obey the charter with exactness. I assume my husband Tanis told you the same thing. That's interesting. My children and I obey the charter with exactness. And she assumes that Tanis told them the same thing. Does that mean to suggest that so much more efficient? Better reach means quicker work. I'll test it today. I'll prove that Nada is wrong about me. Nada. It's implied that Nada hates the Lervels. So you would think that one of the Lervels wrote this. But there's something curious about this statement to me. So the grandmother is saying that she and her children obey the charter, and that's not a lie. Which suggests that either her husband or her grandchildren are responsible for disobeying the charter. Unless she's just completely unaware of it, I guess? But that's interesting, because, like, neither of the grandchildren... Well, maybe it's... I mean, he's a Lervel and a grandchild. And he didn't harvest glut fruit. Did he kill his dad? And if he was with the grandfather, they're like two of the outliers for like people that are like confirmed following the rules. Sorry, I accidentally zoomed in. The question is, if he went to where the dad is, does that mean his wife did something weird? No, but the wife knows something too, right? The approved harvester could not have caused this atrocity. Which of you broke the charter? No one did, but that's a lie. So she knows that... So she knows about it. And she's immediately asking about the son. So I think the son is responsible, and the wife knows. But where did she go then? Is there reason to think... Ooh, is there reason to think that... So line versus... Dawn. Right. I don't think there's a reasonable conclusion that Lurim wasn't standing here when he died. Like, I just can't imagine a way in which you, like, fudge this so that's true. Like, it seems like the son put this wonky thing together, absorbed this entire tree, and then, like, his genetic code got all, like, wobbled up with the tree. It's really messed up. And that's why there's just, like, a loose fruit here. Two or fewer incorrect. Well, okay. Let me just, for the sake of argument. Oh, it literally, that's actually really confusing to me. Oh, no, wait, no, I'm wrong. No, this actually makes sense. The wife is the one responsible. I don't know why the son is lying about harvesting glut fruit. I guess he just didn't do it because he's lazy. Wait, is that what the notepad says? Is that he's lazy? It says he's useless, right? The brother is lazy. I think that's fine, though. Okay. Here goes everybody's favorite part. Read it with me. Blank, blank, blank. The blank of a blank to blank its blank. Oh my god, some gnat is directly in front of my face. Hello? Gnat? Pissing me off? Get out of here? I'll start over. Blank, blank, blank. The blank of a blank to blank its blank. In the process, the blank was also blank. While in blank orchard, blank blank aimed the blank at blank blank. Blank 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 the blank, and so was blank with it. Okay. Blank blank blanked the blank of a so modified the safeguard of a what's the whole thing called? Do I have a name for this thing? A harvester. Okay. To extend its range. In the process, the blank was also blank. The tine was also modified. I believe that is consistent with the way the note is written. That sequence of modifications. Oh no, maybe it's the other one. Time keeps the raise range. Yeah, it's the other way. I got it backwards. It's modified the tine and had to modify the safeguard so that the tine would work. While in blank orchard, blank blank aimed a blank harvester at that's not true. They aimed it at what's the pink one? At a bait fruit tree. Oh my god, this gnat is going crazy. And a bait fruit plant, I guess? We'll call it plant. Blank, blank, blanked the blank, and so was blank with it. I mean, I think used with it and was behind. This is Lervel was behind the plant and was fused with it. So while in a bait fruit orchard, she was the one who did it. She's Lervel. And she also modified it, I think. Really? I'm legitimately shocked at how frequently I'm hitting hard incorrect lately. Well, Vel or Vel modified the time. I mean, we'll play this game. Time safeguard. Okay, I think time first, then safeguard. We're working on range, yeah. Think so. Don't have reach as a word, do we? As a combat keyword? We do not. We're trying to prove... I mean, it could be... Harvested glut fruit. Is this supposed to suggest... Well, hang on. This could have been disposed, like, after everything happened, right? I don't know that its placement tells me anything. Safe is dot and the bad is line. So she lies about something too. It could be that the son did it. It's a little unclear. Like the thing that's clear to me is that I think the mother and son both know about the modification. What other lies do we have? Son was killed. Miss him. Obviously glut fruit. No lies detected. For some reason, I feel like Vel did the modification. Maybe the son, like, actually fired it because it's saying that he didn't harvest the fruit he was supposed to. So that would be, what's his idiot name? Well, he's also a Lervel, huh? That's kind of a problem. It's Etham. That's interesting. So technically I've only changed one word, which means that there should be exactly 2 wrong. Which tells me... that... he aimed it at glut fruit, and he may also have been the one who modified it. Well... oh no, it's... he was in the glut fruit orchard. But I think he aimed it... I mean, is it Etham? Okay, yeah. He did both parts of it, and he was just standing in the other orchard, and the range was far enough. Okay. That wasn't bad. That didn't fill me with fury. We even probably can do one more. Etham Lervel wanted to prove that he and his family were assets to the orchard, so he created more effective harvester. However, the process he made was more dangerous and accidentally killed his father. Afterwards, sentinels arrived to investigate the accident. I feel like that, like, the difficulty level of that is, like, solid. That feels like a medium case from the first game. The only issue I have is I am not certain that there's, like, a truly deterministic way to, like, work out that it's him and not the mother. Like, you could take... like, I see a path to make a reasonably educated guess, but, like, the facts surrounding the conspiracy make it vague enough that, like, it feels to me like it could be either one of them. Oh, good. Interstitials. I love these. Oh, it's hey, everyone, it's work chat. Top 3 highlights from last night's drink event. Go. Easy. Lover boy serenading you over the PA system. Please do not remind me. Keep dreaming, sweetheart. Moving on. How about your flawless impression of Patala? You sneezed without authorization? Prepare to be vaporized. My masterpiece? That was amazing. Speaking of Patala's wrath, how could we forget the old-timer speech about ending the restraint policy? I was merely being ironic. It was quite the manifesto. Soon all Lemurians will agree. We have the power but are unwilling to use it. This cannot stand. The strong must dominate the weak. So much fuss over a drunken joke. Joke or not, we might have to tell Mommy and Daddy. Better safe than sorry. No, please, I beg of you. Patala has no sense of humor. Relax, we're messing with you. We all know you would never have meant something like that. Oh, right, of course. Very droll. Ha ha. Can listen. I don't want to go back on the diatribe. I really committed to making that one diatribe to get that all out of my system, and now I have that to point to if anyone's like, Vasco, like, why do you, like, hate Rise of the Golden Idol? Like, I'll just be like, there it is. It's like 40 minutes. It encapsulates the gist. But, like, can we just talk about these interstitials and, like, what is this? Like, we haven't been introduced to, I think, literally any of these characters. Like, it's just such a strange way to tell the story. Like, the first game was just so much better and more concise about telling the story. I don't know what to say. Alright, second one. Court of the Sentinels. Lies, punishment, and a dance of deception. I swear to God, if there's not a spiel dance when the subtitle of the ancient Lemurian culture is Dance of Deception, I'm gonna be cross. Oh, thank goodness. A giant holographic spiel dance. I'm gonna tell my kids this was Blade Runner 2045 or whatever. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. Okay, I'm out. Is that the crab's UFO? I'm pretty sure it's the crab again. It's the same one. Why is it not the spiel dance? Surely only for copyright reasons. To avoid hypocrisy in their sacred mission, conjure a lollipop. Handling unsanctioned technology outside a Sentinel's duties is forbidden. To maintain humility over their station, seeking wealth or status beyond the purview of a Sentinel's responsibility is forbidden. What was this first one? Are these the virtues from the first game? I legitimately don't 100% remember them. But there's 4 of them and the vibe is similar. To follow the letter and the spirit of the law. Any attempt by a Sentinel to take the law into his or her own hands is forbidden. Did the Sentinel disassemble this potato head man? Oh, chat, that reminds me. I don't think any of you can help me with this. A friend of mine said she's trying to find a 90s style Mr. Potato Head. Does anyone know where I would find that? Like, I know they still, like, make Mr. Potato Head, but she finds the new design objectionable and wants, like, an older design. I don't know if that's hard to find. I haven't really looked into it, but if anyone knows, let me know. And then the last one. To devote their attention fully to the work of cultivating safe Lemuria, allegiance to any outside cause or movement is forbidden. But what about to denounce the evils of truth and love, and to extend our reach to the stars above? In my toy box at my dad's, technically. That's fair. High ceremonial clothes of the Sentinels. Kind of just looks like a Marvel movie poster. Use of the library's printing and formatting machine restricted to scribe of the Sentinels only. How does this give me the word forged? Okay, that was an insane amount of information to take in all at once. Humility, knowledge, obedience, respect, secret. Shh! Secret Squirtle! Gift, sin, virtue, invention, destruction, sows, reaps, chaos. I love you. That's such a specific. Without, within, home, butterfly, lose, find. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna come back to you, giant UFO. We're doing the spiel dance. I mean, we're probably not. Oh, I can't have that. No, there's a way to do this. There's a way to do this. The dance. What does that look like? Is that invention? The hand's not upturned. I don't think that's invention. What is this? It's not respect. How is it that this first one doesn't look like anything? The additional effort required to discern the meaning of a spiel dance carves its message deep into your soul. Okay, standing neutral. Reaching down. It's not gift. What is this? It's not including the leg stuff. The last one had leg stuff. This is pissing me off. How is this nothing? Can I do it backwards since that's confusing? So we have like a Kimbo. Something is weird about this. These don't seem to be lining up correctly. This is humility. This has to be something. This is chaos? It's not quite right, but it's really close. That doesn't... I'm gonna go back to this. This doesn't seem like it makes any sense. I feel like I could trust you with a great secret, but I cannot tell you openly. Pay close attention to my performance tonight with your guidebook at hand. I have a message just for you. Ooh, buy me dinner first. Dispose of this after reading. Ooh, guidebook for Spiel Dance first draft. Approval by Scribe of Sentinels. Daria, this is excellent work. Da-na-na-na-na. I will make a few minor formatting adjustments and then make copies. Don't listen to Patala. I'm confident your performance will change hearts. No, let me see the first draft. It's important, I think. I want to see something without. It's definitely formatted differently at the very least. What else we got in here? Butterfly. A box with a butterfly on the lid that has a piece of paper that says gift on it. Hey, this is novel. This is interesting. This is a way to give a gift, huh? Like it says, I can certainly find Mr. Potato Head all over the place online, but not with all the accessories mine had, which is just wrong of them. It's true, that's terrible. 4 tens of cakes. Alright, so that's good, and that's most of the words, huh? Okay, alright. Okay. Listen to me, I never touched that thing. Daria, please tell them. It's been a while since I watched MTV's Daria. It's a little different than I recalled. Can't there be another way? Hold on. Bethabs. Such a name. Ensure all Sentinels have a clear view of Harold Zinn's Spiel Dance performance. Harold Zinn's. Please catalog your recording of the performance in the library immediately after changing. Bah, we have heard your lies and veiled deceptions. You are in violation of a sacred statute. The specifics of your sin shall be sorted out at your trial. First Statute Tribunal. If a forbidden artifact is discovered in a sentinel's possession, a tribunal shall be held. The sentinel under suspicion must answer the following questions. Were you caught handling this forbidden artifact? Why would we be having the trial if that wasn't already true? Does this forbidden artifact belong to you? Do you know where this forbidden artifact came from? If the sentinel admits guilt, refuses to answer, or answers untruthfully, they shall immediately be detained in preparation for a full trial at a later date. Other sentinels shall offer statements concerning the incident. I don't know what he's talking about. Perhaps it's best for us to seal him away until we return to the capital city. Why are we not questioning him further? How did he smuggle this detestable thing onto the ship? We must determine whether he has an accomplice amongst our ranks. It looks just like an object we confiscated from the orchard. I gave Sentinel De Silva one to deposit in the vault. Where did we see the name De Silva? Let me get his hands on another. So he says... So this lady is Daria, huh? Pretty sure this lady is Daria, which is weird to me, but I'm going with that. We're here. This lady is Beth Abs. I wish I had a 6-pack of Beth Abs. Wish that beams of heat would shoot from my eyes. This guy doesn't have a name, he just has instructions. So this is the thing he brought. Okay. And then over here? What? Hey, what? Oh, it is a recording. Recorded statement. Question 1. Yes, but I've done nothing wrong. Okay, hold on. I can't have these both open at the same time. Question 1 was, it was the stupid one, right? Question 1 was... No, I'm gonna read it again. Were you caught handling this? Does it belong to you? Do you know where it came from? So were you caught? Yes, but I've done nothing wrong. Lies. Doesn't belong to me. Lie. I have no clue who put it there. Lie. Claims to have an explanation. Recorded statement. I entered the library this morning, but only to retrieve translation materials for the masses. Patala arrived and spoke with me, then we both left. I've never seen this device before the tribunal. Hecko Sift, I beg your pardon, sent me to the library to catalog a recording. That's when I caught Gim Gim. Isn't that like the monkey from Speed Racer or something? Caught Gim Gim still in his clothes of high ceremony holding that thing. What else could I do except run and call for this tribunal? Didn't want to implicate myself by speaking with him. Okay, so... This dude is Gim Gim. I don't know if that's a first or a last name. Could kind of be both if he's married. My duties as Prime Sentinel do not require me to enter the library, nor would I ever handle forbidden technology unless I was depositing it into the vault. Am I not above suspicion? Yes, I entered the library to speak with Daria concerning her message to the public, lest it be an insufficient rebuke. I believe this incident validates my concerns, how quickly technology has corrupted one of our own. Holy sure, I grasp what's going on there. I was lost in the library alone and didn't see anything unexpected. Perhaps he brought the artifact in with him, but why did he do it? I would never thoughtlessly violate our code. What's going on over here, by the way? Hey, what's this about? During routine security check last night, library found free of any foreign objects. Hallway surveillance sentinels who entered the library today as follows. Sorry, I'm going to turn off this. Ooh, what explains these statements being true or false? God, this game is so crazy. And like, I'm not saying like this is necessarily a great case, but it's got the spiel dance and it's providing like an interesting interface for like what ostensibly looks like a reasonable logical puzzle. And it's just like, God, this game is all over the place. Like, some of the stuff is like some of the worst puzzles I've ever seen in my life. And like, some of it's like rad. It at least has a cool idea. Okay, hold on. Nico said, my Mr. Potato Head had a bowler hat and a handbag, among other things. He had different noses, feet, shoes, and a green hat. A fancy hairstyle, a bow tie, different mounts, and glasses. I mean, it sounds like you went all out. Apparently, Mr. Potato Head lost most of his accessories after 1999. Whoever's looking for him should search one secondhand dated before that time. Well, that's good to know. I don't actually know how important the accessories are to her compared to just having one that, like, the newer ones have kind of a more, like, there's like a, I think people sometimes call it like .eye cartoon style that like became popular on like Cartoon Network and some other places. That like I feel like the new Mr. Potato Head's like a little reminiscent of that style in its like visual design. I think that's her main objection. New ones don't have removable feet. That's really weird. Weird though. Okay, Harold Zinn's Advisor Kib, Scribe Sift. What am I looking at? So, like, the left is a timeline. Oh, okay. The left is a timeline, and these are the span of time that people are in the room. I don't know that this is useful to me in this moment. What's the face doing? Okay, that's the last thing I needed to find. 09.45, verbal command received. This is Prime Sentinel Morn De Silva. Open the door. Okay, hold on. I'll do it in a minute. Analyzing command. Correct command given. Scanning Veridola. Prime Sentinel status confirmed. Running open vault. So, Mutton Chops is Prime Sentinel, which means he's Morn De Silva. Why do both Morn and De Silva sound like familiar names but not together? Why is that true? I think I'd have to like delve deep into the archives to figure that out. So, is the account of where people are just supposed to help me figure out their names? That feels kind of lame, to be honest. Advisor Kid, technician. So here's the overall gist of what we're looking at here. This is a report of today's activity in the library, which I think is the other room we were looking at first. Or no, this is hallway surveillance of sentinels who entered the library. So I guess we could call this more or less records of a security camera outside the library in the hallway, just to put a mental model on it. And so we're saying, like, from the start of today to tonight, this is everyone who like went through that threshold. But also importantly, overnight there was no indication of anything weird being put in the library. So, like, it had to happen sometime today. Nick says, what's the point of Mr. Potato Head if the accessories are a single pair of arms, one pair of shoes, a mustache, eyes, a hat, and ears, with nothing to switch them out with? No, I agree. Like, if you're not able to, like, if you don't, as a bare minimum, have, like, a backup set of each part, I don't know why you would even make a potato head. Like, I can understand in this day and age that, you know, they might try to sell you, like, sets of Mr. Potato Head accessories or whatever as, like, a microtransaction or what have you. But like, if you're not able to vary his look at all, like, what is the point? I'm fully with you on that. Incidentally, do you think that this is a Lemurian potato head? I can kind of see the vision. Scribe, advisor, technician. So I got him. How do you smuggle the detestable thing onto the ship? We have to determine if he has an accomplice. Looks like something we took from the orchard. I gave Sentinel de Silva one to deposit in the vault. How did he get his hands on another? Perhaps it's best for us to seal him away until we return to the capital city. Ensure all Sentinels have a clear view of Harold Zinz's Spiel Dance performance. Please catalog your recording of the performance in the library. Harold Zinn's Spiel Dance. So the thing that's weird about that is this honestly is a really cool shot. Like, you know I hate this game and you know I love to hate this game, but like this actually does rule. This is actually really good. So like, where are the notes? I feel like I can try. What? Okay. What? This is interesting. What are the four people with the arrow mean? What does that tell us? The impression I get is that Bim Bim or whatever was under the impression that Daria was sending him a message through the Spiel Dance. But the Spiel Dance is done with like an abstract sort of projection, and for some reason, someone had a different person do the dance, and that either set him up to frame him by like giving him a message from an unexpected source, or like somehow undermined his expectations. Just know I'm going to be getting ads for a lot of vintage toys after this. That's probably true. Wait a minute, though. What was this other thing? Daria, this is excellent work. I will make a few minor formatting adjustments and then make copies. Don't listen to Patala. I'm confident your performance will change hearts. So it feels like it's framed for Daria to perform this, but then it changes for some reason. Let's find knowledge chaos. Let's find... Is it backwards? The lose and find? No, it's not. It just seems unintuitive to me. There has to be... There has to be something important here. Maybe more than one? But I don't know what. Like, is there actually a change? Let's take another shot at this, assuming that there's nothing sketchy here. Hands behind head. I'm losing my mind. Like, not one of these seems to line up with the dance. What's wrong with me? this is humility, for sure. It's like halfway through. One arm up, one arm down. I think this is so's. I think we're saying the arm goes up, but we turn clockwise. That's so? And then chaos. That feels like that's forming a sentence. What has an arm out like that at all? Oh my god, I have to defeat the net. I hate the net. Hey chat, is this helpful? The zoom, is it helping? So I need the hands behind the head. It doesn't look like it's sin or virtue. It looks like the hands are like fully closed, and both of those involve hand signs? There is an answer to whether this is helpful. Hold on. What's the answer? Is it good? Okay. Oh, this is without? That's what this is? Yeah, that's probably true. I think that's true. This is much harder than the last one. I'm not entirely sure why. This is still throwing me off, though. First off, there's like so much like lead into this that isn't dance, but then also like it's not knowledge. I wouldn't say it's respect. It's like close to I love you, but it's like clearly not that. No, wait, it's invention. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's like a sentence. That like feels like it fits their deal. Yeah. The dance projected for the public. Invention without humility sows chaos. I mean, that feels like it fits the vibe, but I'm not immediately sure what it tells me. Oh my god, the net is making me crazy, man. I don't know what it's... It feels like in order to solve the, like, what explains these statements as being true or false. I mean, I feel like I've never touched the thing means that the butterfly box with the gift note contained the weird thing, is my thought. Is like he brought it in here. I'm not immediately... I haven't wrapped my head around enough of the situation to know why the other stuff is like lies. But like it being inside a box the whole time can make it true that he put it here and never touched it, right? I think it's early for me to do anything else here, but that's my guess. So let's go back in the crab ship, Crablar. So I have to, like, work out the time. There's not, like, a lot. Well, I guess some of the testimony's over here, yeah? This is Daria. I entered the library this morning, only to retrieve translation materials for the masses. Which is true. Patala arrived and spoke with me, and we both left. Patala arrived in the morning. So it's Patala Kib and Daria Zins? Because she was there and then he arrived and it's in the morning? Do I know... I was in the library alone and didn't see anything. That wouldn't be them. Gim Gim. I entered the library to speak with Daria concerning her message to the public. Lest it be insufficient in its rebuke. Okay, I get... Okay. So then... What was the name I said this person is? It involves... So is Patala Kib. Okay. Two people, I think, note that they were alone. One of them's this guy. I was in the library alone and didn't see anything unexpected. I actually brought it. I would never thoughtlessly violate our code. That could... The way that's phrased... Wait, that's super sketchy. This is like high-level, like, manipulator phrasing, right? I would never do something to thoughtlessly violate our code. Which doesn't mean that he wouldn't violate the code. It means he would do it super intentionally if he was going to do it. That's shady, brother. So he was alone and, like, nothing happened. That makes him, like, the middle guy? He's the scribe? I think that makes him the scribe. But, like, someone names that guy. Not you. You? Harold Sin. Performance. That's interesting. Harold's not a first name, it's a title? Yes, it is. That's curious. So it's not that there was a substitution in the performer, but some other breakdown in communication. Who is the person who talks about... Is it over here? Hecko Sift. Hecko Sift. It sent me to the library when I caught Gim Gim. So that means of the remaining people... This guy, Gim Gim Kara, was in there first. And then Assistant DeBerry came in later to catch him. If you give me a real logic puzzle, I'll solve it. If you give me, like, a nonsense, like, color by number nightmare, then I'm just gonna have a bad time and make a 40-minute recorded diatribe about why I think this game is deeply, deeply flawed. Alright, so I've named all the folks. Now I've got the statements, and I still don't really actually understand what's going on here at all. So that's a little problematic, eh? Let me skim these again. I entered the library to retrieve translation materials. Right. Patala arrived and we both left. We didn't see the thing. Patala says, entered and spoke to her on the same subject, and am concerned. I'll get to him later. So Sift sent me to the library to catalog. I mean, so the situation is that Heko clearly did something sketchy. Like, he's clearly the bad guy. And he's found a way to frame... what's his face? Gim. And also directed Bethabs to catch him red-handed as part of the scheme. I mean, you could also... this is slightly suspect as well. The, like, Prime Sentinel is saying, I would never handle forbidden technology unless I was depositing it into the vault. The thing is, that could, like, technically be true without it being, like, accurate. Like, he might be willing to deposit something bad. Like, he's not necessarily saying it would have to be part of his job, which is, like, one of the tenets of, like, why you would do this or whatever. I don't think I'm immediately getting anything else from those. And so what is this? Verbal command received. Sentinel, open the door. Analyzing command. Correct command given. Scanning for a door. Opening vaults. Does that tell me anything? What time is it outside? I don't know, like evening? I don't know what the 9:45 is. I don't think it could be from that morning. Don't really need to look at this. So make minor formatting adjustments and make copies. So hang on. Let's look at the dance again. Invention without humility sows chaos. Wait, who wrote this note? Patala is the one who was going to... like, she and Patala spoke and it sounded like they were, like, on the same page. Who wrote this and why are they saying that Patala, like, doesn't believe in her or whatever? For approval by the scribe of the Sentinels. The evil guy is the scribe, isn't he? Yeah. So he wrote the note, huh? But what did Patala say about it? Blank blank brought a blank blank aboard the blank. Blank 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 a blank from blank blank and sent it to blank blank. Because of this, blank 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 the blank as blank 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 blank. Blank blank saw blank blank holding the blank and blank a blank at the blank. Blank blank was blank for having blank the blank. Well, there you have it. Case closed. There are so many blanks. Yeah, this game's a little blank happy, if I can keep it real with you. So, first thing is a statement of fact. And that fact is that Gim Kara brought a... I mean, it could just be forbidden artifact. Is there something more specific that we want? Do we want, like, a Modified safeguard. Hey, Joe Adult Man, thank you for the raid. Hello, hi, welcome. We're playing Rise of the Golden Idol. We are currently playing the DLC. I don't remember the correct name of the third one. Anyone remember that? No, it's something about the Age of Resistance, right? It's really interesting. Oh, check out this really sick scene. I assume you guys are familiar with this game. I don't know if you are. It involves a lot of filling in blanks to solve mysteries that tell you a story. Raiding and running. Well, thanks for the raid. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your night. Oh, chapter 4 of the regular game. Got it. Okay. Well, I'll try not to spoil anything for you, but thank you so much. But like, yeah, check out this cool like Blade Runner like giant dance projection thing. We like worked out. It's like a coded message. And I'm in the midst of trying to figure out just exactly what's going on in this crazy situation. Thank you, Demolition, for gifting subs to some of our new friends. Thank you, thank you. Enjoy your new Narwhal companion, your badge, and access to what I think are some pretty cool pirate-themed emotes. Okay. So, I think Gim Kara, who's the guy in the force field, brought a... What are they calling it? Like a forbidden... I think it's forbidden artifact. Aboard the chip, I guess. I don't really feel like any of these is like super more specific than that. Look forward to the day when you can fill one of these in and every blank is the word blank. Oh, that'd be so sick. You know, it's funny. My experience with these games really does make me kind of want to make like a parody like Golden Idol game where like it just kind of makes fun of this convention. And like that I think would be pretty good. I really like, there were some cases in like the first game, I think, that had like the word something or nothing, which I think is also just like a really funny thing to like fill an important blank with. So like if you worked it so like you did something like that, I think that'd be really funny. Because of this blanked the blank as, I mean, this is something like translated the dance, but I'm unclear on how to determine what wrong message they got from the dance. There was also like, I think in the first game I managed to find like one or no, yeah, it was like DLC at the end of the first game where like they had provided you the words such that you could like legitimately create the sentence like someone was sedated with a sedative, and like I'm here to tell you that's not technically wrong, but the game didn't like it. So blank saw blank. So I think just to make some progress here, I'm gonna say that they saw Gim and the they is Bethabs, because they're the ones who caught him and called the tribunal. There's another draft of the movements, but the problem is that I can't like look at it unless I'm like a complete moron. So like this is the one we use to solve it, and there is a second one, but like it's got this big note on it, and like the stuff I'm able to look at seems verified. Close attention to my performance tonight with your guidebook at hand. With the guidebook. With the guidebook. Stupid Nat. Does he have a guidebook on him? No. Is there another place where I would find his guidebook? Or am I meant to like make a logical leap about the guidebook? It just feels like I should be able to determine the message, right? Because it's like literally in the, like, final match game. Except the library's printing is restricted to the scribe of the Sentinels only. I mean, it's really clear to me that the scribe is, like, the villain of the piece, right? Attempt by a Sentinel to take the law into their own hands is forbidden. To devote their attention fully to the work of cultivating safe Lemuria, allegiance to an outside cause or movement is forbidden. To maintain humility befitting the station, seeking wealth or status above their responsibilities is forbidden. To avoid hypocrisy in their sacred mission. Handling unsanctioned technology outside of their duties is forbidden. The weird thing, though, like, part of the strange thing here is his testimony is he's done nothing wrong, it doesn't belong to me, I don't know who put it there. And those are all lies. The more obvious way I would expect this to be framed is that almost the inverse of this, like he's, I don't know. It doesn't belong to... I have no clue who put it there. I mean, here's the weird thing, though, right? If you have a clue who put it there, and you have, like, a lie detector stapled to your forehead, why wouldn't you just say that? Why wouldn't you just be like, I strongly suspect that the scribe did it because he's a mustache-twirling villain? Because, like, that would at least read as you telling the truth, and it would give them cause to, like, investigate the situation fully. Does that not seem strange to anyone else? High ceremonial clothes of the Sentinel. I don't know why that's meant to be important. No, wait, there is something about that, right? Someone said something about someone else being in, like, ceremonial clothes. Yeah. I caught Gim Gim in his clothes of high ceremony, holding that. Do I understand what that means? Here are the full versions of his statements. I've done nothing wrong. I mean, it's basically the same, right? The rest of it is just kind of like, but let me explain. Oh yeah, let me look at this again. I guess there's not much to be gained here, right? A forbidden artifact is discovered in a Sentinel's possession. A tribunal is held. They have to answer these questions, and if they admit guilt or refuse to answer or lie, they're immediately detained in preparation for a full trial. Other Sentinels offer statements concerning the incident. Yeah, I think that's just like framing the situation. No, I mean, I get that the clothes of ceremony are in the poster, but like I don't think I know what. I don't think I'm aware of the cultural significance of the high ceremonial clothes, so that I know what to take away from it. Is what I mean. Can I see the dance leaflet translation? I mean, yeah. Here's the full one. What is... There's... The note that was given, presumably to Gim Gim, that for some reason he threw away in the vault like a psychopath. The one that, like, tells him to, like, look at his own guidebook, which I think is indicating that they should seek a different message than what's translated here. It has this weird thing. I don't know what this means. It has, like, 4 silhouettes, and each of the silhouettes has, like, 4 green, like, dots or line sections or something. And, like, one of them points to a different one. Oh! No, I understand. It translates everything down and to the right. Oh, God, I'm stupid. So, the message that he got is... God, so many windows to make this work. I love you. Find... Humility gift. And then that's why it has a gift tag on it, sure. So, within... The green dot thing really threw me off. Chaos butterfly. Okay. And that's definitely Gimgin did that. And then Bethab saw him holding the artifact and called a tribunal. Tribunal? What's this middle bit? Blank, blank, blanked a blank from blank and sent it to blank. I want to take a look. I want to take a look again. I want to take a look. So, here's dance. Yeah, like gift is in a different place. Yeah. So yeah, he definitely did this on purpose, for sure. I mean, like, we knew this, but it's confirmed. Kim Kim is not a villain, but the name is tragic. It's not great. I wouldn't choose it. So blanked a blank from blank and sent it to blank. God, that's an annoying sentence. At the tribunal, blank. I think it's just him, right? I think we're just saying, Kara was, I think detained is probably correct. Or having possessed? No, having violated the first statute. Yeah, I think one of them said it's a first statute violation. So I just need to figure out blank, blank, blanked a blank from blank and sent it to blank. I mean, you understand why that's difficult to wrap your head around, because it gives you almost no context, right? So far liking this more than the previous case. No, I mean, I fully agree. Like, I've legit... here's the thing, right? Like, I do have a tendency to be a masochist about games, and to, like, play them to a certain point beyond the point that I'm having fun with them. What's rough about Rise of the Golden Idol is that while overall I think it is a bad game, and that's just my opinion, but, like, I think it takes the framework of a good game and, like, handles it really badly and ultimately makes what I feel is a bad game. At the very least, a worse experience than the first game. But the problem is that, like, it alternates between, like, legitimately some good experiences and some kind of subpar experiences and, like, a few extremely bad experiences. And so, like, particularly because this game has a tendency to, like, isolate its stories in a certain way, it's hard for me to be like, it's just best to call it off. Like, for all I know, the pirate DLC at the end of this miserable path could actually be good. I'm not really holding out hope for that, but I feel like I want to try. But, like, I've mostly been enjoying tonight's segment. Like, the setting is cool. Like, I feel like they're giving me a lot more to work with to understand the characters and their motivations. And, like, it actually tells, like, an interesting story that, like, they give you puzzle pieces to work out. I read people dumping on this one, not in specifics, but they just said that, like, they didn't feel like the characters were as rich as the previous one that I hated. I'm like, that seemed like it bode like it boded really poorly, but like so far I definitely prefer this to the last one. I mean, and I'll say this too, the first two parts of the Lemurian Phoenix aren't bad. The first one's like okay, it's kind of like solid, not like amazing, not terrible. The second one like has some good stuff in it, but like is a little rough around the edges. But like the three after that, especially the last one, my god, just heinous. Blank blank blanked a blank from blank blank and sent it to blank. This is so the subject of the sentence has to be the guy I don't like. That's like Kib. No, that's Heko Sift. So Heko Sift reformatted, I think, is the appropriate word. What am I looking for in this spot? Not a gray word, a gold word. I guess we're calling it guidebook because the note tells him to keep his guidebook handy. So we're calling the thing that translates it a guidebook. Reformatted the guidebook that came from Daria. I don't remember her last name. Zins. And sent it to Gim Gim Kara. Did we do it? Oh, God, I'm mad. Not getting much in the way of characters. I mean, like, I don't know their whole life story, but, like, let me put it this way. If the two options that exist in the world are the game thinking it's really clever and giving me, like, a backstory to the character, and that being the whole thing I gave my 40-minute diatribe on earlier in the stream, or a cursory overview of some characters and I understand them by nature of their actions and nothing more than that, I vastly prefer the second one. So, okay, let's take another look at this. It's not immediately clear to me what would be wrong here. So, Gim Gim brought a forbidden artifact aboard the ship. I guess that's not true, right? But what is it that he did do? Because we filled that in early on. But the reality is he was told to find the artifact and then just framed for possessing it. For reasons that are somewhat unclear to me. I guess this would be a good opportunity. Like, presumably solving this ends the case. And I still haven't really looked at this. So, why is he lying when he said that he did nothing wrong? That's because I want to say this is the reason. Like, I wouldn't necessarily call an undefined gift seeking wealth, but it feels like this is the closest thing he's violating, right? Because otherwise, taking the law into his own hands, I don't think is what he's doing. I guess you could argue that his allegiance is to his romantic interest, and that could be what he's done wrong. That doesn't belong to me. I'm not sure what piece of information it wants. So, like, it has the word gift written on it, and the translated message tells him it's a gift. But I don't know which of those two things makes it a lie that it doesn't belong to him. no clue who put it there is demonstrated by this space. I guess I'll say it's gift box? So not too... I mean, like, this one feels solidly locked in. This one I'm iffy on. This one I'm iffy on. I feel like I never touched it. It has to be the box. So, I think it's one or both of these is wrong. Let me try... the interpretation of the message. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. Wait. What? That's very confusing to me. That, like, doesn't that mean the middle two have to be the right ones? So, what other thing would demonstrate he had never touched it before? That seems difficult for me to wrap my head around. I'm still not 100% sure what the poster's trying to tell me. I've done nothing wrong. It's a gift? Never touched it. Never touched it. How would it not be the box? Alright. So that's still wrong. I never touched that. Oh! That's dumb! He never touched it because of gloves. Because he's wearing his ceremonial clothes and they have gloves. Am I wrong? They don't show his hands. That's dumb. That's stupid. Yeah, that's cheeky. I can abide by that, but that's a little annoying. But at least it answers the question, like, why I care about the ceremonial clothes. It's just kind of dumb. So it doesn't belong to him because it's a gift. He has some idea who put it there because he received the message that led him to do it. He never touched it because of the glove. But what is it he did wrong? I can trust you with a great secret. Great secret. He wasn't seeking the gift. He was following the message. And the reason he followed the message, like, is it not for? It's the first one. Handling unsanctioned technology outside of a Sentinel's duties is forbidden. I can't tell if I'm overthinking it or underthinking it, but that's confusing to me. Bring up to this. So he didn't... What did he do? What did he bring aboard the ship? Or bring aboard... Well, I mean, it's probably the ship. What else do you bring something aboard? I guess a train. I don't think that's the answer. Well, he brought a note, huh? I think he brought the note. Because how else would the note have gotten there? Is it secret note? Those are words. Those are words, guys. It's not better. It's the same amount of bad. But I think it's more correct. Unless... we're not talking about Gim Gim. What if we're talking about Heko Sift? Because he presumably brought a forbidden artifact. Okay, great. That's promising. Yeah, the mistake is that I just filled that in early on. And then when I gave it some serious thought, that makes more sense. So Heko Sift reformat. Does it not like reformat? Is there a different word it wants for the chicanery that he did? The shenanigans? Minor formatting adjustments. I'm gonna call that reformatting. God, what a cool scene. What a great visual. Formatted a guidebook from Daria Zins. Sent it to Gim Gim. I think that's all correct. Because of this, Gim Gim translated the dance as I love you, find gift within butterfly. Bowery saw him holding the artifact and called the tribunal. At the tribunal, Gim Gim Carroll was detained for having violated the first statute. It is the first statute, right? You're in violation of a sacred statute. I mean, it's... what would he be violating if not the first one? I'm still sort of confused at the implication that he did actually violate it, though. I'm not saying I think he necessarily did it. I just don't think I understand the full nuance of that. Is there like a different word than detained? They're like putting him in a space... like the big ice block prison. They're sending him to the Phantom Zone. That's a little interesting, huh? Is that coming from her? Green. Not flashing. Green. 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 Colorless. Is it just corresponding to... yeah, I think it is. I think it's only corresponding to, like, the statement being made. We're obviously really close here. Thanks to Bowery, saw Gim Gim Carroll holding the artifact. Gim Gim Carroll was detained for Here's a better word. Obtained. Well, I don't think he was executed. He's being put in a big ice block. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like detained is closest. Like arrested or imprisoned or something. Something along those lines. Pretty sure that our testimony... call this tribunal. Yeah, think that's correct. And she's the one who did it. I didn't put in her name weird or anything, did I? Thebs de Berry. Saw him holding the artifact. So I caught Gim Gim still in his clothes of high ceremony holding that thing. Yeah, I do not see an issue with this sentence. That all seems straightforward. At the tribunal, he was detained for having... Does I want a different sentence there? Different final bit? Having... Stole or borrowed? I mean, that doesn't seem right. Forbidden artifact aboard the ship. I mean, let me make sure I got that name right. Hecosift, Gim Kara, Daria Zins, Gim Kara, Bethabs, Gim. I think all the names are right. On a few rare occasions, I've had just an input error that I don't catch by not being thorough and assuming I put in the right thing, because in my mind I've already put the right name in, but I misclicked or something, and so it's not technically correct. But it doesn't look like that's the thing here. This translation seems correct to me. Is there another gold word that would be applicable, like message or something? No, it seemed like it. I think translating the dance seems correct. Any thoughts, gang? Any of you have a sense of something I've obviously done wrong? Any of these gray words possibly good here? I mean, guidebook is a weird choice there, but I feel like guidebook is correct because that's the terminology we're using. Have your guidebook at hand. It calls itself a guidebook. It's literally written on there as guidebook. I want to know what the real message was supposed to be, because this part has to be real, or else Hecosift wouldn't need to change the guidebook, right? If there wasn't an actual cause for him to look for a coded message, if he just fully forged the thing in the first place. No, that's not true. No, that isn't true. For one, Daria says truthfully that she doesn't know what he's talking about. And for two, if you forge it and then change her work, then it's still relevant because you're writing the message you want. So that's not true. I don't know. Let me check something, though. Okay. That's interesting. That wasn't the... I remembered the bad placeholder word. What this means is that we have exactly 2 blanks wrong, which often indicates one name being wrong. Which, if it was obvious to me which one that was, I would already have fixed it. Oh. Ooh, no. Hang on, though. Be sorted out. And the thing he says is, duties as Prime Sentinel do not require me to enter the library, nor would I handle forbidden technology. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Run open vault. My duties as Prime Sentinel do not require me to enter the library, nor would I ever handle forbidden technology unless I was depositing it into the vault. No, that's a red herring, right? Or is it? Why did he go in the vault? Because he didn't put this artifact away. It's still here. But he's telling the truth when he says... I would never handle forbidden technology unless I was depositing it into the vault. The vault is different from the library, I think. It's a little vague, but I think that's true. Is there a reason why these... Like, they put this whole space here. Could it really be for no reason? Oh, wait a minute. Looks like an object we confiscated from the orchard. I gave Sentinel de Silva one to deposit into the vault. Is it possible? No, that's weird. So they're not trying to be pedantic about someone else technically bringing it on board and then Heko just sort of shifting it around to incriminate him. There is something weird about the fact that he draws attention to the fact that it was in the vault. Is it possible that the issue is this, the forbidden artifact? That whatever that sentence wants to convey is about some other part of his plan? Maybe there was another in the frog box? Where's the frog box? I don't think there's anything new to be gained here. This thing is just something to behold. Butterfly box. I don't... Can you reason me out how that would, like, help? Like, I'm not sure you're wrong. Like, something else could be in there. But I don't know that... I don't know how that solves... I don't know how that would change any of the words I've put in here. In such a way that... it would, like, give us the solution. Because, like, the understanding is that, like, Heko Sif put something in the butterfly box. And that something is literally this purple thing from the last case. And, like, tricked this guy into being caught red-handed holding it. I don't know why. Think about the old man saying, how did he get his hands on another forbidden artifact? Well, I mean, I don't think you're wrong, but, like, so the idea is the old man, to be clear, the old man who says that is the culprit. He's the liar. He's the bad guy, if all the names have made that unclear. This guy who says that thing put it there. He did it. So, like... you're not wrong, but, like, that's basically what I already had. this guy is Heko Sift. Heko Sift, this guy, brought an artifact on the ship, which is the doobly-doo, the purple thing, and he put it in the box. And then he tricked the guy into misinterpreting the dance. And then he specifically told Bethabs to find him in the room at the time he was looking for the gift in the butterfly box. I don't know, like, it's entirely possible there's a detail I have slightly wrong, but like, I don't even know what it is. This is the problem with mostly listening. I would argue that, like, the names are the problem. They make it really difficult to track stuff. Because they're all weird, and then I can't remember any of them, like, the second we finish a case. Like, what's the name of that guy I hate? I don't know. Jafari Parari? Something like that. Like, I literally did, like, a whole 40-minute diatribe about how his story sucks, and I literally can't remember his name. Like, what's the flaw here? Oh, no. Hold on. Let me check something. To retrieve translation materials for the masses. I'm gonna try something that I don't think is correct based on the evidence I see here, but it's like one of the only things I could think of at all. Oh, I mean, I might as well try it, but like, I just want to understand it. I don't get the don't listen to Patala thing. Is that relevant in some way? The thing I'm wondering is, like, because the two of them were in there at the same time, is it saying that, like, the guidebook didn't come from Daria? But the note on the book to be, like, distributed has a note to Daria, as if it was her work. We're so close, it's so frustrating. I mean, I'll just do it to do it, but I don't think it's right. What's Patala's last name? I'm just gonna be incorrect. That's fine. So I guess that means that's correct. I think we've confirmed specifically that Heko Sift and Forbidden Artifact are correct in this sentence. Because he got interpreted, translated the dance. I don't think anything in this sentence is wrong. So, holding the... I mean, if he wasn't holding the artifact, then we wouldn't call the tribunal, right? Maybe reformat. Oh, that's actually interesting, Neko. Maybe it's not reformatted the guidebook. Yeah, maybe it is forged a note. I mean, I talked about this, but I didn't consider that being the thing. You're right. I think you're right. Yeah. Good work, Neko. I mean, I like practically said the whole thing out loud and didn't even consider it for a second for some reason. I mean, it's a little annoying because, like, I understood it, but, like, it is fully on me for, like, not trying that, you know? like, I do get frustrated when, like, a puzzle, like, doesn't reward you for, like, understanding the entire crux of it. Like, I've complained about this during Blueprints a lot. Heko Sif smuggled a forbidden artifact on the ship to frame Gim Gim Kara. Knowing what questions would be asked of a suspect in a Sentinel's tribunal, Heko laid an inescapable trap for Gim Gim that exploited his infatuation with Daria Zins. Now, the interesting thing is we have no idea why he did that. I don't know if that's relevant, because well, I guess there's a through line here because the artifact came from the farm, but it's a weird place. Okay, let me look at this flying sky iron with a golden idol image etched onto it. Universal transfer device. This powerful contraption can execute a number of commands pertaining to life, memory, matter, and more. Though it was considered dangerous in previous eras, the Sentinels' use of their universal transfer device for strictly essential... The Sentinels use their universal transfer device for strictly essential purpose. It is used to excise dangerous memories from perpetrators, but the automaton that holds the device only functions if the target willingly complies and requests the procedure. What? That's weird. It is interesting that it describes the Golden Idol as we know it as a universal transfer device. It's certainly not technically wrong. That's consistent with most of what we've seen it do. But here, so Neko, this is like a classic Golden Idol from the first game. That got this weird quasi-squid, quasi-like pie symbol shape on it. And a gem that alternates between the colors red and blue depending on whether it's like giving or taking something. It transfers by like absorbing something. Sometimes like memory or like heat. And you know, it has this back thing where like it has a toggle switch to make it like execute a command that like you input with these buttons. But like what's been kind of weird and inconsistent is like sometimes there's different numbers of buttons and it's not entirely clear what the mechanism would be for you to like adjust and use more than 3 buttons or whatever. Does it have boobs? Nah, it does not. Nor did the clearly fake Lemurian idol that we saw yesterday, though I know that everyone wanted to interpret it as such. But that's really weird. It is used to excise dangerous memories from perpetrators, but an automaton holds the device and only functions if the target willingly complies and requests the procedure. I'm not sure I fully understand how that scenario comes to pass. But it's interesting that its primary purpose is the memory thing, and yet that didn't come up in the entire first game at all. Oh my god, is that another interstitial? This is not a puzzle. It is just a story. Once upon a time, there were 2 ghosts holding a sleeping dog. And the sleeping dog... No, he doesn't have a sword. Someone came to cut the chain of the sleeping dog, which woke up and started yelling. Just kidding, it was a dragon. So the dragon dog is breathing pink, so presumably water to correspond with the canal or whatever. And then he flies over to some, like, goblins, I guess? Then he breathes pink on them. Maybe it's like frosting? And, like, then this guy, he lit him on frosting, but then he was coated in frosting and became the king. Wait, this is a puzzle? It's not a puzzle, I assure you. Okay, it's not a puzzle. This is for when we have all this done. Why is it like this? And why is the dragon, like, dog-faced? What is this, Planet Laika? He says, referencing a really specific video game that he just saw, like a 1-hour retrospective of that no other human being who could be watching this, like, knows what it is at all. It's too obscure. Well, whatever, he says. Next Friday, we'll see if we can finish DLC number 3, which hasn't been bad so far. Like, I'm a little frustrated with myself for getting stuck for so long on that detail. But like I said, like, I feel like I understood the story. It just wanted like a really specific wording in a place that I think is kind of interchangeable. I mean, like, call me on it if you think I'm wrong, but like, do you not feel that both versions of that sentence are technically correct? Like, I guess that's all I'm saying. Um, but yeah, we'll be back. We got some more Spite gaming to do. We got to eat the Spite fruit and become the Spite guy. And then we'll finish DLC 3, and then hopefully by next Saturday, we'll finally achieve the goal of playing the pirate DLC, which I'm sure isn't even pirate DLC. I'm sure it's like 3 guys in like a department store window display are wearing pirate outfits, and then like the rest of the case is just complete dog water. Like, that's probably what we're looking at if we're being real. Um, but we've reached the end of the stream, and it's not even past 1 a.m. yet, which is exciting. But it is, however, the end of the stream, and thus it is time for you all to see if you can locate a secret Squirtle. Somewhere among the plush friends I've put on display to decorate the room tonight, I've hidden some number of Squirtles. Locating a Squirtle as hidden in this way will be an omen of good luck for you in the coming days. I encourage you to look around, give us some thought, and see if you can work out where I've hidden a Squirtle. It's the goal to get adventuring corsets. It'll certainly be a plus if we achieve adventuring corsets in the line of duty of getting to the pirate DLC, which almost definitely has nothing to do with pirates. Like, that's the killer, right? Like, it looks like it's got a bunch of pirates on it, but like it's just a single image, and it's almost definitely deceptive. I have a little bit of juice apple left over. What do you mean it has nothing to do with pirate? I don't know, because I haven't played it. But my point is, the only reason I have to think that it's pirate related is that the like cover image for the 4th DLC is like 4 pirates that I don't know if they're actually on a rowboat or if they're just sort of like huddled together. But like that's all I have to go on. And so I'm like, it's the pirate DLC. And like in reality, that image could just be like a poster in like someone's locker, and it's like literally like an episode of Saved by the Bell or something. I don't know. Okay, couple guesses. I what's funny is like people were so excited for me to be like big mad about DLC 2, and like people tuned out, which like I'm not even mad about. Honestly, I think that's like kind of like a huge flex. I don't know if people actually enjoyed that though. I'll fish for some feedback on the Discord just because I am curious about that. But we got some good guesses behind Drifloon, behind Winnie the Pooh, and behind Flareon. Shall we see what we see? And just because he's new and exciting, enjoy a brief look at the derpy Tyranitar. Look at him. I think I might do a new Tyranitar team for the new Pokemon Champion season. I don't know. I've been really indecisive about what I want to be playing this season. They haven't like added new Pokemon or anything, so it's just a matter of like figuring out something that works. I haven't been having as much success with my Skeledirge team. Well, we'll start here. Drifloon. What's that, Drifloon? You got a Squirtle? I like Drifloon's call. It's very fun and whistly. And if we look behind Winnie the Pooh likes to lean on something. Winnie the Pooh also has a Squirtle. The Squirtle doesn't want to stand up though. And just because I feel like showing it off, this Beor riding on top of this mustachioed narwhal also had a Squirtle behind it. Oh no, I knocked the Squirtle down. I mean, don't you just, I mean, look at his whittle face. Don't you just love him? Um, and also, we've got Big Squirtle behind Flareon. And I'll admit to you that I did actually mean to swap that out. Because technically, the theme that I put on display was characters who don't have visible mouth, um, which is all of them. And fun fact, I chose this theme specifically uh, to highlight a point. For I think 5 consecutive streams before the birthday slash summer vacation slash 4th of July break, I used the same theme and no one commented on it. And like I did it twice because like I thought it would like troll someone. And then no one said anything. And I just kept doing it and like no one said anything. And for a while I thought uh I just like I'm gonna go until someone mentions it. But then it felt kind of because like it felt like the inevitable conclusion of that is to point out to everyone that I've been doing it for so long. But like it seemed like disingenuous to be like, how did you not notice after that like 2 week gap that I was doing the same? Because like I don't expect you to remember it. But like I expected someone to say something. Why do you think I did so well? That feels like a weird like anti-flex. Weren't you on some like incredibly huge streak well before that happened? But yeah, no, like as I said, I mean like the tough thing about Flareon is like it's nice to like Flareon's always on display. But like it's hard to have themes like match Flareon, particularly when I want the theme to encompass all things. But to be honest, I spent so much time working on my stupid diatribe that I forgot to switch out the giant Squirtle that had been behind Flareon for like many weeks. Um, so there was supposed to be a Squirtle there, but also Flareon does kind of get to cheat sometimes because she is glorious and huge and takes up the room. So like I don't know, occasional like it has already been the case occasionally, and it will probably continue to occasionally be the case that Flareon will like be an exception to the theme. But like I did choose only things without visible mouth because uh I mean, for one, I tried to do an all inclusive theme yesterday just because I wanted good vibes coming back from the break, which failed spectacularly in the sense that, um, the last case yesterday like sucked eggs. But then, today I tried to incorporate everything because the end of yesterday's stream sucked so bad that I wanted to just be like, let's give it a second shot. uh, you could say that you sit in front of Flareon so her mouth is not visible. Yeah, but like that's like technically viable, but like I try not to do things that are like super cheeky like that because then I feel like that is like a violation of trust of trying to guess the theme to some extent. I don't know. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you, and I hope to see you again soon. Had fun tonight. I hope you did too. We'll be back to finish this weird DLC story. Hopefully next Friday. I don't know if we'll get it all in on time. But if we do, then next Saturday we can finally pick up the final DLC, which may or may not have anything to do with pirates. Until the next time I see you, take care of yourselves and remember that you are Clawsome. I too am loving Cusco on Flareon. I did think people would enjoy that. I wanted to display Cusco, and I figured the only way that I could get Cusco on display would be to put him on Flareon, and then the two of them would not be on theme. But I then just literally forgot to move the Squirtle. Like I did everything correct except the important step of moving the very big Squirtle. So that's how we ended up here.